How's it going? Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Hope you guys are having a great Father's Day. How's it going? Sounds good. Happy Father's Day. All diecast dads, diecast grandpas, anybody who's in a fatherly role. Well, even if you're not diecast, happy Father's Day. Hopefully everybody's doing well. I'm a little wiped out. I'm going to be okay though. But I spent about, 4 about 9 hours out on the road. Yes, I was hunting, doing a little road trip with the fam. That's what I wanted to do for Father's Day. It was one of the few days that I, completely get to dictate what we do for the day, so I have to take advantage. I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate. Anyways, happy Father's Day. Welcome to Diecast Discussion. I'm your host, Derek, aka Honest Diecast. But collectively, we are all Honest Diecast, striving to create a better diecast community that's about the cars, not the money. If it's your first time here, thank you for coming. I hope you guys enjoy. We talk about everything diecast. We have special guests on. Talk about issues and matters regarding the diecast community. And we have a lot of fun. So, and for all of you guys that I see in the chat, welcome back. I hope you guys enjoy. There is Metal Head Diecast. I have a mail call from Metal Head Diecast, Bryant, as well as Brad from Diecast 164. I'm excited to show you what I ordered off of him, but I'm even more excited to show you what he gave me as a gift. Like, seriously mind blowing. But thank you, Brad. And yeah, I got that, and I'll go over to the finds, the Father's Day finds. I did pick up some stuff from Cubbyhole. I made it back up there. Just took another box up there. Collection clear out. Got a little bit of store credit. Picked up just a couple of things. Nothing too major, but some stuff that I found pretty interesting that I wanted. So eager to show that to you guys as well. So with that in mind, let's get started. Demolition Diecast, what's up? Saying hello to Sean. Yeah, Sean's in the house. There's Sean's Diecast. What's up, little man? Little man. And there's Dane Self right there checking in. And Zach Allen. And good old Mikey Frisco. What's up, buddy? There's Greg. He's across town from me. What's up, Greg? Hope you're doing well. 25 watching. Only half smashed that like button. I appreciate you, bud. Very, very much. And thumbs ups are appreciated for sure. There's Chad. There's another face I haven't seen in a while. What's up, Chad? Hopefully everything is well. Saying hello to everyone. Happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to you as well, if it applies. I always like to throw that in there. Last thing you want to do is tell somebody Happy Father's Day and they're not a father. It's kind of weird. So there's Colin right there. What's up, Colin? Good morning, Derek. Got my coffee and biscuits, getting ready for an awesome live. Nice. What's up, Colin? Colin going through the paces on his customs. He's doing some great work, and he's picking up a lot of stuff. I think he's officially caught the customization bug. So good for you, Colin. You won't regret it. And Mikey said he found 2 of the new Fast and Furious Premium Camaros. Nice. That light blue is beautiful for sure. It is very, very nice. What's everybody finding out there? I got some stuff to tell you guys, actually, as far as what I've been finding hidden. And I want to see what you guys are finding first. So you guys tell me first, and then I'll tell you after, okay? That's the deal. Pinky swear? Okay. Yeah. All right. Kevin, what's up? Saying happy Father's Day to all. What's up, Kevin? Hope you are well. Enjoy the weather while it lasts, since it will rain all day tomorrow. Yeah, I'm not sure where you're from. I forgot where you're at, but yeah, if you ever want some sun, come to AZ. It's sunny, but it's also quite warm, but it's actually cooler than normal right now. I think we're at 104, 105, and we're probably about a good 5 or 7 degrees cooler than we were this time last year. So, yeah, freaking cold snap. There's Susan Wonder Woman ST, and speaking of weather, she's been getting some wild weather in Oklahoma. So stay safe, Susan. Hope you're finding some stuff as well. Sean Coral, that is a fact. Walmart is getting J-Case. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Not a father. Well, I'm saying this message to Mikey Frisco for in the future. Happy Father's Day to you, Mikey, in we'll say 3 years. I give it 3 years. Maybe sooner. Who knows? Brian, Static, what's up? You're definitely not a father. At least I hope not, young man. Derek, you're live. Yes, I am live. I am here. I'm here on a Sunday. I'm trying to get better at doing them on Sundays because it seems to work better for a lot of people. Not sure why. Because, technically tomorrow's a school night for most people, or a school day. School day, work day, you know what I'm saying? But yeah. Try to do them on Sundays. And plus our special guest today, his availability is today, and I'm available today since we're winding down Father's Day. So let's do this. Yeah, I got Chuck Ellis from Diecast Media Network coming on. I'm super excited to have him on. I was trying to do my plan was to do a trifecta of Diecast Media Network. Looks like it's not going to work out next week for Mark. I'm super excited to have Mark back on. It's been a long time. But I am going to get him back on probably in July. But I might have somebody for next week that I'm also equally excited to have on. And it's kind of in a different diecast realm than what we've ever had. So much excited. But I am super excited to have Chuck on tonight. Chuck, great dude. Super multifaceted guy. Like self-reliant. Like maybe his original name should have been Flying Reliant. Because the guy does everything. He does everything. He does water decals, printing. He is a gangster at weathering. If you guys didn't know, it really doesn't get much better than that at all. So yeah, we'll try to pick his brain as far as his weathering techniques, but he does that. He does his own water slides. He's a producer, obviously of a very well put together show, and customizer, collector, down to earth guy who's got a great personality. I'm super excited to have him on. And we had David on from Diecast Media Network last week. If you guys didn't see that, make sure to check that out. We were talking about obscure and premium diecast. It was a great episode. I did rewatch it. And I was super excited to have David on. That was way overdue. So thank you again, David. If you're watching or if you watch this over, appreciate having you on, bud. That was an awesome episode. But yeah, looking forward to bringing Chuck on here in a bit. Kevin saying happy Father's Day to all. Happy Father's Day to you too, Kevin. I'm just gonna kind of assume if you wish people happy Father's Day, you're probably a father yourself. So I'm just going to make that assumption. I might be wrong, but that's where I'm going. Demolition Diecast, J-Case hitting Pennsylvania. No soups, but finding some decent cars. Yeah, that's me too. Cracked another J-Case today. This was the first one that I cracked not at a Target, but it was also the first one that didn't have 2 mainline Mark II Supers in it and only had 1. Obviously that was not a super, or else, yeah. But I did find something today, and I found a lot of stuff. I guess you can say customs. We're going to open something I found today. Super excited to find that. Only found 1, and that's fine. But yeah, we're going to open that in a bit. I feel like I'm missing something. Maybe I'm not. Mail calls from Bryant, Metal Head Diecast, and Bryant Diecast 164. I did tell you guys that. Jeez, I'm losing my mind. What, did you find some 40 weight? Some 50 weight? 50 weight sounds nice. Good old Lance. Skyline box sets and EK9 Boulevards. Nice. Nice, Greg. I was actually hoping to find a couple of EK9s yesterday. I found a bunch of brand new Boulevards. Not one single EK. Found everything else. Even the T1s were left over. Even the Impalas were left over. The Miatas were left over, but no EK9s. So, just dealing with that. As always, it's no big deal. I got a couple, but I would love a couple more. Mainly for customs. Because yeah, I already got my carded one, and I want to get some extras for metal bases, because yeah, I want to do some metal base EK customs. WGC, what's up? Not finding much of anything. That should change here pretty soon. As soon as I get a little caught up with the comments, I'll go over my reconnaissance report. We'll call it that. And I'll tell you guys what's hitting here in Arizona. Some of it might surprise you. Let's see. Just kind of scrolling through. Well, indeed, my find was a D-Case Copo Camaro. Kevin, are you saying that you found the CK Super in a D-Case? If so, that is awesome. As mentioned, always check, if you're cracking a case, make sure you check for the previous Super. You have to, because it does happen. Cody says, I'm not a father either, but I'm a father to my little girl dog. Same muzzle saying I'm a father to my own dog. All right, Cody. All right. Amigo, mucho grande, mucho gracias, amigo. Hector, what's up? Que pasa, amigo? The King Super is the one, amigo. Sweet blessing. Thanks, brother. Good to see you, man. Good to see you. I love Hector, man. That's my amigo. That is my amigo. I've seen Star Wars Premium and Fast and Furious. Yeah, Fast and Furious is a little bit heavy. I don't think it's a necessarily highly sought after set just because there's so many re-releases in it, but the Camaro does make it nice for sure. It's nice to get another look at another Challenger SRT Hellcat wide body, but yeah, it's the same exact one that came before. So yeah, I don't know. Got to do something about these re-releases. They're a little funky. Eddie G checking in. What's up, YouTube Diecast Community? Happy Father's Day. Q Harmonica, strike up the band. Yes, sir. Happy Father's Day, Eddie. I'm 25, not a father, and I'm single. Right on, man. Right on, Cody. Live your life. Get it all out of your system before you settle down and have kids. That's all I got to say. What's up, Cody? Yeah, Cody, thank you for commenting. So I'll just bring a couple here. Excuse my abdomen. Here's just a couple. But this is from Adrian's auction. Those are going to be going out tomorrow. I gotta hop on pirate ship and print these labels. So everybody's auction stuff should be sent out tomorrow from me. I got a couple more to box up. Including yours, Cody. I got to box yours up. Your 3 items from me. So just bear with me. Thanks for being patient, guys. I know you guys already got Adrian's. And yeah, I'll get mine out as soon as I can. And thanks again for helping Adrian out. And by the way, when I opened Adrian's package last week, I forgot to read the letter that was in there. I didn't see it. And I felt like crap. Because Adrian was like, hey, man, I'm a little butthurt you didn't read my letter. I was like, oh, crap. Sorry. So I'll read that here. I'll read that here in a few when we go over fines and mail calls. Sorry, Adrian. I didn't mean no harm by that, man. But yeah, I'll be getting that stuff out tomorrow. By the way, if you guys haven't tried it yet, I was able to send one package off, and that was my Diecast Misfits St. Jude's charity stuff, including the Green Godzilla or Gojira. And I use Pirate Ship. Pirate Ship's pretty good. it's pretty cheap rates. I think that box was what was it? I think it was a what was it? God, it was a 12 by 8 by 4, I think, and it weighed almost 3 pounds. And I paid $14 for it. And I know for a fact, just alone being that it was almost 3 pounds, it would have been well over that if I went to the kiosk. So yes, you do save money going on a pirate ship, and plus it's really nice to just be able to print your own labels, stick it in the box, and then all you got to do is just go to the post office, drop in the box in GTFO. So I would highly recommend pirate ship for anybody who has not tried it. So far so good. And then you got on demand friggin' tracking. You can see where it's been, where it's going, where it's at, where it's heading, all that good stuff. So I like it. I'm a fan of pirate ship. I like it. And there's Andre, Inland Empire Rail fan. What's up, Andre? Hope all is well, bud. Bryant says, bro, I need those EK9s and those Miatas. They're dope. Damn, I wish I knew you needed the Miatas. I would have picked at least 1 or 2 up for you. There's a ton of them today. By the way, I didn't roll footage at all today. I just wasn't in the mood. It certainly would have helped me get my next hunt episode up, but honestly, I don't see it as a priority right now. Right now I'm like brainstorming other video options, and I had a really good idea, and I think I'm going to do it. And I went over it yesterday with my wife. She told me it was a bad idea as usual. I'm just joking. She didn't tell me it was a bad idea. She just said, you might want to refine some things about that. So yeah, I'm still thinking about it. And then I really want to do some, now that I have the customization station, we're good to go. I definitely want to do some more do-it-yourself how-to tutorials, including one that I've been meaning to make for like a year, how I lower my diecast cars. So that should be coming up very soon. There's the man of the hour, Chuck Ellis, right there, Diecast Media Network. I may be a father, but Mark my Hot Wheel is Diecast Daddy. Yes, he is. We got a Big Daddy's Diecast too. He might be here. He might have checked in. I'm not sure. But I didn't see you, David. Sorry, but yeah, Mr. David Gibson, aka Big Daddy Diecast. I got a big box for him. I got to send off too. So. There's wise words right there to Cody, I think. Yep, Cody, enjoy it now while you can. Fatherhood is awesome. I love it. Yeah, it is. You got to trade off. You got to trade some stuff off. When you have kids and get married, you got to trade some stuff off. But in the end, it's all worth it. That's why you just get it out of the way before you get married. What's up, Ferris? How you doing, bud? I gotta get caught up on your latest episode. Your Ferris is kind of like in the same boat as me. He kind of does these monthly wrap ups for hunts because that's just how tough it's been. Everybody's going through it. So yeah, I need to watch your latest episode, bud, for sure. There's James checking in. What's up, James? Happy Father's Day to all in the room. And by the way, I'm really trying to get caught up with comments right now. You guys are killing it right now. So if I missed your comment, I apologize. I'm not ignoring you. Just trying to get caught up. There's Nitrous checking in, saying hello to Sean. Fair says pirate ship is awesome. Love it. Yeah, it's cheap. It's definitely cheap. They try to tell you that it's like 70 to 86% off of rate. It's not that much, but you definitely do save a little bit of money for sure. Mikey says ship station is cheap as well. Nice. Did not know about that. And of course, we got dogs barking. Great. James saying, clients, great to see you all. What else can I tell you guys? This thing is going to be going bye-bye sooner than later. I have found my webcam of the future, and it is sick. So I'm going to be upgrading that sooner than later, as soon as I can. But I'm super excited for it. Let me check something real quick. Okay, we're good. You're good. Okay. Clients. Yeah. I know that bugs some people. So, as a matter of fact, I don't see Bruce here. Maybe I've done it too much. There's Adrian saying, "What's up, Diecast homies? My ears are ringing. Happy Father's Day to all you Diecast daddies out there." Hey, you too, Adrian. Happy Father's Day. Yep, your ears were certainly ringing, itching, buzzing, ringing. Vid idea, the famous long lost lowering vid. Yes, yeah. I'm gonna do it, Static. I'm gonna do it. I will do it. Zach saying he found the Godzilla at a Dollar Tree. Nice, man. Very nice. Glad you found another one. I'll always see a train by the train tracks, but I won't always see Hot Wheels. I want on the pegs. That's how I'm feeling about Hot Wheels right now. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the name, obviously an Empire, Inland Empire Rail fan into trains. So my wife decided to hand me a note, and it says this. That's what you get to look forward to, Cody. We take the trash. It's not enough. Thanks, love. Okay, I will. Right away. Cody, I'm looking for the Hot Wheels RLC bait Mercedes. If anyone has one they would part with. There you go. Okay. Yeah. So if anybody has the bait Mercedes, Cody is interested. Mechanic laughing. Yep. That's what you got to look forward to. Yep. We take the garbage out when you're done. Okay. Mm-hmm. Itching, there's a cream for that. Yes, there is. Love the collection room too. Looking good. Thanks, Susan. Appreciate you. Yeah, it's still a work in progress. I'm still trying to fill up this Porsche wall right here. But yeah, we'll get it done. I need to order some more display cases so I can display all my loose Porsches. That's what I really need to do. Ain't that the truth, Josh? Happy wife, happy life. Yep. Plot twist. The note, hey, you got clients at the door. Meet them after this. I know the dog's barking. That's funny. Yeah, that's funny. I like it. For sure. Okay, I'm caught up with you guys. Yeah, so we'll show this one. Go over Father's Day finds, my cubbyhole pickups, mail calls from Metal Head Diecast and Diecast 164. We'll go over those. So my scouting, my reconnaissance report. So it's absolutely right that Walmart is getting J case. I was able to crack one out of Walmart today. It was a dud, and I've seen plenty of leftover J. Now, keep your eyes on Albertsons and Safeway. Albertsons, for the most part, seems to be getting HK shippers in. I'm not sure if they're dumps. I'm not sure if they're sidekicks. I haven't seen any sidekicks, but I've seen plenty of dump bins with lots of H tossed in. So I think they're sidekicks, and they're just emptying them out, putting them in the dump bins. So Albertsons, H case. Safeway, also getting H, but also getting J. Yes, J. Found J today. I got some international examples of some cards that I wanted. So stay on top of your Safeways for JKs. All right. Hot Wheels are starting to make a little tiny bit of a comeback at AutoZone and O'Reilly's. I did find a couple premiums that I decided to take from O'Reilly's, if I can find them. Where did I put them? Where did I put? Okay, right here. Right under Adrian's note. So these are O'Reilly's pickups. Speaking of pickup. So found another one of those. I thought I gave my only one up, but I found another one. So now I have two, and I might customize one of these. One of these beautiful Back to the Future Toyota pickups. I'm not a big truck guy, but this truck is so well done. It is perfectly done. So I do like it. And then just for the heck of it. Beautiful blue Zonda R, cool combi. International cards. Zonda does have a pretty bad crease right there, so I think I did pick up another international card of that today. I gotta check. I think. Speaking of Zondas, I made a community post about this week. I found this at a Fry's. So Fry's Kroger is starting to get HKs. So be on your Fry's. But check that out. How cool is that? Completely detampoed. It's like literally just blue. It does have the spoiler decal on there, but that's it. That's it. I thought that was pretty neat. So I was like, yeah. I picked it up and I was like, do I really want it? And then I took a closer look at it and I was like, wait a minute, something's missing. So I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was pretty darn cool. The Mercedes that you saw in the pic. There it is. The one and only Mercedes, the 560 SEC AMG that I found at that Fry's with that tampoless Zonda R. That got cracked immediately. The only reason why it was left is because the card was absolutely obliterated. So I wonder who was there before me. Kind of makes me wonder. Makes you wonder. So yeah, this is going to be going under the knife. I have been severely looking. English 101. I have been highly anticipating drilling one of these and slamming it on its huevos. So that's going to be happening. It took me so long to find these. I found so many in the past 2 or 3 days. So yeah, don't give up the fight. Target is still really weird right now. They had that very small wave of J, and now they're back to G and H. Now I'm finding like pretty fresh G and H like there, and I'm like, geez. Drill it right now. You won't. I would, but I can't because I got to go over all this stuff with you, and Chuck's gonna be coming on pretty soon. So maybe that'll be the one I do my lowering tutorial on. How you feel about that? Mechanic, thank you. Yeah, I'm super excited too. I'm still trying to debate on what color I want to make it, but I think I got an idea. So, but yeah, just big body coupe. Yeah. Andre says the AMG casting is for sure my favorite casting this year. I only have one though. Yeah, don't trade a bunch of stuff for it. Definitely don't buy one. You're gonna see it. I promise you. Because I was thinking that too. I was like, when the hell am I gonna find this damn car? And like I said, I could probably fill up a 36 count Kroger case full of these things if I took every single one that I found. Found a ton. So just hang in there. You'll find another one. What's up, Anthony? Love that Benz. I know you're gonna kill it, Derek. I bet my bottom dollar that you're gonna be doing one too. I don't know if you've done one yet. If you have, I haven't seen it, but my money is saying that you're gonna be transforming one of those as well. But thank you. Appreciate you, Anthony. If you guys haven't checked out Bullet Tony Customs, head over to his channel. Check him out. Excellent customizer, excellent commentary. Love the dude, love the channel. We also did a diecast discussion a ways back, so check it out. If you got time, check it out. Adrian says, enjoy the single life, bro. Once you get married, be prepared to get nice honey to-do list from your wife. Thank God. I enjoyed doing handyman work. Yeah. Yep. They're worth it. They are worth it. Nice, Sean. Just ripped open a greenie. There you go. Dollarama's got C&D last year's cases. Oh, I did hit up some DGs. I didn't buy a single car from a DG today. But the rumor is true. Some Dollar Generals are starting to get last year's F in. So For those of you guys who haven't found a golden nugget, you might have one more shot. You might have one more shot. I figured. I figured you have already. What's up, David? There's David checking in. I love the camaraderie between you guys, because when you were on last week, Chuck was here, and now you're here. About to watch Chuck. Awesome. What's up, Ed? Good to see you, buddy. Hope all is well. Let's see here. Sean he's singing the jingle. Cody, my grocery list will be Hot Wheels. Yeah. Bryant Metal Head Diecast says, I need that Super Treasure Hunt EK Honda. Yeah, buddy. You might have one more shot. You might have one more wave to go through. So definitely hit those DGs. All right. Let me just go over finds real quick. I'll go over my cubbyhole finds. And we got another premium to add to the collection. I'm super excited about that. So they had, I don't have this S2000. So I decided to grab this. This is the Teen S2000. It's not the Zamac. It's just the gray one. But I don't have that in my collection. I found that at Cubbyhole. This 180, when I was hot and heavy on Whatnot, this 180 was going for really, really high money. And of course, I didn't bite on it because I was like, I don't have to have it that bad. We're talking like 15, 20 bucks. $5. I like that better. So the beautiful maroon 180 SX. Gorgeous. Pick that up. They had one of these. 934.5 Ultra Hot. I will never, ever have enough of these. So $5. $2 more than retail. I can live with that. And I picked up another premium diecast to go with my little, you probably can't see it, but right there. I'm trying to get all of the N064 shell cars, the ones that I like anyways. And I think so far I've liked them all. This was definitely my number one choice, but it's not the first one I picked up. The first one I picked up was the S13 Sylvia. But this was definitely one that I really wanted. And I found this up at Cubbyhole, and it came home with me. So check out that beaut. Look at that beauty. R34, not a GTR. It's a GTT, if I remember right. Drift car. Those details, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. Surprisingly, usually every time I go up to Cubbyhole, I end up coming home with some brand of premium Porsche. But surprisingly, they didn't have anything that I wanted or needed. So, a little surprising. Slightly disappointing, but that's okay. I came away with something that I wanted and needed. Okay, let's we'll go over the Dad's Days finds. Just a couple here. Just a couple. So, out of town disappointment. They had just loaded up moving parts. This is kind of like the only thing that they had just loaded up. Everything else is pretty empty, but they had 6 of these. So I decided to take some more for custom. So I took 3 out of 6. I think that's pretty fair. But yes, I am chomping at the bit to get one of these done. I did open one of these already. I'm just trying to test fit wheels, trying to get it to sit right. It's a little difficult because those wheels are pretty big, but we'll figure it out. And no, it's not a Porsche 911 GT casting, but it's a 992 and I love it. So picked up that. Let's see here. Okay. At a different disappointment, I found a cracked J case. Grabbed Jeep Cherokee. This one's going to the wife. That's a treasure hunt for J case. Regular treasure hunt. Did find 2 of those. One on the pegs, one in the case. Porsche 911 GT3. I think I have my 5 now. Good. I'm not taking any more. And 1 Godzilla, because there's an E-case there. That's not all I found from E-case. I found number 3 of that. Mazda Cosmo Sport, number 3. Wasn't the Super I was hoping for. I was hoping for the Mark II. I was hoping for this guy. But just found 2 of the Mark II Toyota Supras. Took 1. I got one of these open too, by the way. Over here somewhere. So yeah. Nice. Not bad. Any day you find a Supra is a good day. It doesn't matter if it's not the one you were looking for. It's a good day. And from that same disappointment, I did pick up 2 box sets. Very, very excited about this one. So that Track Day box set. It's the first time seeing it out in the wild. It's good stuff. I friggin' absolutely love that Asenza in there, which not going to be able to really get too good of a view while it's in the box, but yep. That Lamborghini Asenza nailed it for me. And also that Audi Quattro is gorgeous. That's a good box set. I have a feeling that's going to be slept on. And if we weren't running so tight on time, I would open this, but I think I'm just going to open this off of camera. I did find one of these finally. Now, I had one sent to me as a gift. That one is displayed currently right now. This one I'm going to open. Fabulous follow-up to the Skyline box set. The previous one that came out, you can probably see it right there. So this one is I'm probably going to move that over here. And I'll put this one right there. So, yeah. Friggin' sick box set. But yeah, that's my dad's day's finds. Now, real quick, let's go over mail calls real quick so we can get Chuck on here. I don't want to make him wait too long because he's on Eastern Standard Time. All right, so this is the letter I forgot to read from Adrian. So let me just read this real quick. Thank you again, Adrian, for that box. That was really sweet of you, man. It says, Derek, thank you so much for standing shoulder to shoulder with me throughout a kick-ass 6-hour online auction with me. I have no words to say how grateful I am to have you as a friend. Likewise, buddy. Enclosed is a little something for you. Enjoy and God bless you and your loved ones. Bandoleros for life, brother. Salud, mi familia. Regards, Adrian, Big A's Diecast. So thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Sorry, I'm so sorry I missed that, dude. I'm so sorry. But yeah, if you missed it, he did send me a Forza. He sent me a Forza box set. And also I won this on an auction. He waived that. And I appreciate that. Thank you, Adrian. Yep. And he's talking about possibly doing a second one. So if you're interested, I think the first one went pretty well. I'll help him again as well. So thanks again, Adrian. Appreciate you, bud. All right, real quick from Diecast 164. Good old Brad from Diecast 164. I purchased a premium box off of him. Do you guys know which one this is? Speed Machines. And it's a dud. But that's okay. So I got plenty of co-mold wheels now for customs. And honestly, I'm probably going to pick up a second one off of them. So yeah, we'll try again and keep our fingers crossed for a Porsche chase. But yeah, got bodies, got co-mold wheels for racers if I do them. So I'm happy. I'm not disappointed at all. But Brad was kind enough to throw in a gift, and I cannot believe he threw this in. Let me just open this real quick. Let me be like David and go ahead and open it. He says, de nada. Big A is definitely a real one. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. So I am super ecstatic to add this to the collection. Coincident, I don't know if Brad can check people's carts to see what's in them, but I could have swore I added this to my cart, and I don't remember if I took it off or whatever because I just decided to hold off on it. But man, I wanted this thing so damn bad. My God. Oh. Look at that. My God. I know that'll get the nod from Chuck, being from Tarmac. Another fine example of Felix's product. Man, absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, Sammy from 713 got this probably a couple of weeks ago, and he showed it off to me, and I was like, yeah, I got to have that. That's so nice. I'm actually going to do a custom. I'm going to do a custom of that, but I'm going to do a 934 RSR, but I'm going to do the same theme. So I'm excited to see how it'll come out. But Brad, thank you so much, dude. That's an incredible gift. Incredible. That is going on my porch shelf over here immediately after the stream. Lastly, one more thing, and then we'll get Chuck on. One more box. This is from Bryant, aka Metal Head Diecast, and I haven't opened a single thing in here. It's all wrapped up. We have that open last. We know how that can go sometimes. Good stuff. Thank you, man. I wasn't expecting anything from Bryant, but super kind of him. Okay. He's very thorough. I like that. I like thoroughness, and I like instruction. I like guidance. Read first, open last. I like it. Buddy. Thank you. Ooh, okay. All right. A note from Bryant, aka Metal Head Diecast. He is in the chat. I did see him. So here we go. Dear Honest Diecast, aka King of Supers. Not lately. Excuse me. This was long overdue, brother. Just wanted to say thank you for being honest with the community. Been following you for a couple years now. Not sure if I've mentioned this to you, but back in 2020, I lost both of my parents. My condolences, dude. That's yikes, man. It's been a long journey, but during this time, I decided to pick up the Hot Wheels hobby. And man, let me tell you, it's been one expensive hobby. It can be as expensive or as cheap as you want to make it, right? Stupid webcam, out of focus. But I've made friends, and we've become more than just Hot Wheel collectors. We've become good friends, like brothers. I've met some great collectors, and some have been really cool with me. Shout out to Skip's Diecast, Brian Page. Let's see, Gerardo, local collector, JVK Toys, Mustang Hunter, and I'm sure we'll meet more. Yeah, Greg from JVK. He's a class act. I love that dude. Once again, thanks for giving us a platform where all collectors can get together and talk cars. You have some amazing, cool people here. Let's continue growing the community, and remember, it's about the cars, not the money. From Metal Head Diecast. I'll leave the last part out, but thanks, brother. Appreciate you, man. It's friggin' awesome. I do keep all of my letters. Still have all my stash. Let's see what he said. Okay, kind of excited. Much excited. This is a mini GT. Oh, okay. This is one I've actually contemplated picking up. I just haven't picked it up yet. The Pagani Zonda HP Barchetta. Hopefully I'm saying that right. That's gorgeous. I've seen this many, many times, and I've always thought about biting the bullet. That beautiful white interior on it. It's freaking gorgeous. Thank you very much, sir. That's going up on the mini GT wall right up here. Next one, I can see through the wrap, and I do have this one, but it's a doozy. It is a doozy. Who knows? Maybe I'll take this out and play with it a little bit. I'll keep it in the wrap for now, but yes, I do have this one. It is back here. I believe it's that one right behind the tripod right there, but I do have this one, and trust me, I love it. The Inno64997 Liberty Walk, that dark gray. It's like a brown, almost red interior in it. It's dumb. It's ridiculously good. It is so freaking good. But yeah, thank you, brother. Yeah, I do have it, but I absolutely love this. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's one of my faves. Who knows? Maybe I'll crack it and maybe I'll do something with it or attempt to do something. Okay. The one that always makes us nervous, the open last one. When somebody writes open last, it could be anything. So let's see what this is. I'm nervous. I think I know what this is, and I've wanted this forever. Oh my god, dude! If this is what I think it is, Bryant, holy shiza! This has got to be it. This has got to be it, and it's got to be opened. Yep, it is. Dude, you friggin' rock, man! Holy cow! I cannot tell you how long I've wanted this. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, yeah. I'll give you a hint. Chuck, you know what it is? You know what it is? Oh, boy. Oh, my goodness. Good God Almighty. It's been a while since I said this, but the Lord is my shepherd. He know what I want. David, you're close. He says Passat. You're close. It's Chinese, but it's definitely not a Passat. Holy cow. Chinese Passats. Chuck. Oh, man. Bryant, you friggin' rock. I wanted this thing for so friggin' long. Dude. There is a chase of this too, by the way. There is a chase of this. It's all gold. Honestly, I like this one better. I'm a big red guy. I love it. Yeah, this is the Year of the Tiger. Year of the Tiger, friggin' Inno64997 Liberty Walk. It is like as metallic red as you can possibly get. It is like chrome plated with like transparent candy red paint, all gold, all straight up gold accents. I promise you that this camera is not doing this thing justice at all. Oh man, dude. You friggin' rock, dude. Thank you. Man. It's got the little figurines in it. It's got the figurines and the tiger. Man, that is so good, dude. Oh, man. Me likey. That is definitely going up immediately after this as well. Dude, man. Holy cow. Thank you, Metal Head Diecast, man. I love it. I love it. So this from Metal Head Diecast. There he is right there. I can see him in the chat. Good old Bryant. And then Brad from 164, man. Here we go. The premium Porsche collection is growing. Okay. I don't want to make him wait any longer. I'm gonna get this one guy on here named Chuck. Good old Chuck Ellis. Let's get this guy on here. Let's get to know Chuck. If you guys don't know him already, which you should, change the banner real quick. All right. Thank you again, Brad. Thank you again, Bryant. Appreciate you, man. God, that's amazing. Okay. Diecast discussion number 110, guest Chuck Ellis from Diecast Media Network. You guys should know this guy. If you don't know this guy, head over to Diecast Media Network, formerly known as Flying Valiant. Let's get him on here. Hey, Chuck.
Well, hey there, Derek. How are you?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing very well, although I'm a little intimidated. It's tough to follow an act like that. That was a killer mail call you just had.
Oh, man. I'm mind blown right now. Right? Completely mind blown.
Incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind people. I know you guys have worked with just amazing people, and yeah, nothing tops just kind, generous people like that, man. Just love it. So yeah, this is another one I would consider 2 weeks in a row. Obviously, both you and David from Diecast Media Network, but I would venture to say that this is long overdue. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I'm very flattered to have been invited.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So let's start off with a little bit of your collecting background. You can tell us where you started from. I'm sure you've gone over this many times on Diecast Media Network, but maybe for those that don't know, you can kind of tell us your origins and what led you to start Diecast Media Network. What led the transition from Flying Valiant to Diecast Media Network?
Wow. Okay, some big questions. So, first of all, hi everybody. Great to be here.
I booted you off. Sorry.
My start with diecasts. I think my earliest memory of them is my grandma had a wicker basket full of toys at her house, and it had some old Matchbox in them. And I don't know whose Matchbox they were, because they were too recent to have been my mom's or her sister's, and they were too early to have been mine. But they were some early Matchboxes, including the Rough Rabbit, the yellow and blue 4x4 VW Rabbit was one that stuck in my head. It was mostly Matchbox, actually. And then I think it was Christmas of maybe 85 or 86. I got the Crack Up set, the first Crack Up set that was just a simple X pattern, and you launched two cars at each other. And the Crack Ups, for those who didn't know, had a little like spring-loaded feature where the front or the side would flip and get damaged. And they were I thought that was the coolest thing, that you could have these cars that you could crash and put back together and do it over and over again. And I
remember those. How cool were those things?
That
man?
Really wild. Like you think about it now, you would never do anything like that now. But they have some cars that are similar, but they've never had anything that's quite replicated that set. They've done some others. There were the Crashers series in the late 90s that were pretty close. But yeah, as a kid, I didn't know much about cars other than Sundays after church, you could turn on the TV and guarantee that either Blues Brothers or Smokey and the Bandit was on. And so those were my two movies that I watched growing up when I wasn't watching the Herbie movies. And so I just grew up loving cars, Dukes of Hazzard, Knight Rider, A-Team, all those things. And
you're sending goosebumps right now, because it's bringing back
the waves of nostalgia.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, Herbie has always been kind of the top dog for me. Just because that was the one that I grew up with. Our family was one of the first families that we in the neighborhood for sure to get Disney Channel, and they used to run those movies on repeat over and over and over again. And I always thought those were so cool. And because they were the perfect car movie for a kid. Who doesn't love a VW Beetle and the wacky antics of a car that could be your friend? So anyway, collected a bunch of cars. My brother and I have a brother who's just under 2 years younger than me. So we grew up together. We had a huge collection of diecast. And then, I grew up, went to college, got out of the hobby, gave all my cars to my brother, and he was smart enough to actually keep them. And I got out of it for a long time. When I started dating my then girlfriend, future wife, Carolyn, she was teaching at a high school. And so she had a lot of homework to grade at the end of the day. And she's a math teacher, so I couldn't help her with that because I don't do that sort of thing. So I started building model cars again, which is something I had done as a kid, and kind of fell back into that. Was building 125th scale models for a long time. My specialty, for those who have seen my channel, is I do weathered, beat up, barn finds, junkers, demolition derby cars, and was doing that in 125th scale. Entered a model building contest one year, won a couple of awards. Was like, yeah, this is fun. And then, while I'm doing this, I'm also lugging through my life a 1964 Plymouth Valiant that I got when I was 15. That was my first car. And, hey, there's one of my customs there.
Yeah, we're going to be showing you much more examples of Chuck's work, but just absolutely stellar weathering.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. That was a fun project. We'll get to that in a second, but
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, so I stopped building model cars and decided it was time to rebuild the Valiant. Took it off the road. Spent 6 years doing a full breakdown restoration of that. Learned how to weld. Took night courses at the tech school. My friend Ben and I and Carolyn also, worked on it. Just stripped this car down to literally the bare shell and started over. And, finished it, built it, drove it to Chrysler's at Carlisle in 2017. Got the car featured in CarCraft. It won a Judge's Choice Award. And I was like, that was fun. And now we'll go on to something else. I never want to do that again. It was kind of this thing that I was like, I am going to do this if it kills me. I am going to finish this project. And, and we did it. It was very difficult and extremely expensive. And, but I just I didn't want to, be yet another guy that's like going to fix it up someday and just let the thing rot. And, everywhere I'd gone, any car show I took the Valiant to, there was always some guy that would come up to me and say, man, that's your first car. I'd give anything to have my first car again. And I'm like, dude, you're driving a Viper. What was your first car? And he'd be like a 74 Lincoln Mark V or something. And I'm like, okay. He's like, yeah, I got it for like $300, man. That thing was terrible, but I'd give anything to have that car again. I'd trade this Viper in a heartbeat for that. Okay, cool. So yes, Carolyn says we finished it. We did. So hey, Carolyn. Anyway, so then one day I was wandering through Walmart, and I just kind of happened through the toy section and saw that Auto World had just come out with this 1976 Buick Estate wagon. And it was in a blue color, a seafoam blue kind of color. And I was like, that is exactly the car my grandpa had. And it was the first 1/64 scale diecast I had bought in probably 10, 12 years. And yeah, so that's right. We did. Both of my kids were brought home from the hospital in that car.
Nice.
That was a few years later. Well, actually, Carolyn was pregnant with Tracy when we finished the car. So Tracy's first official road trip was in utero, in that 64 Valiant, on a 900-mile drive up and a 900-mile drive back. But nice. Yeah. So and Auto World just kind of, I had no idea that people were doing cars that detailed. And I know that, you just showed a bunch of Innos and mini GTs and stuff that are all way more intricate, but I hadn't paid any attention to the hobby at all. I was just thinking, oh, okay, well, Hot Wheels, it's still out there. It's probably some fading thing, this dinosaur of a brand. And then, once I finished buying the car and went home, and I was like, I wonder if anybody's doing anything with these. Wouldn't it be wild if people were customizing these? And I went on and I saw Bare Metal HW, and I saw Jakarta Diecast Project, and I was like, holy cow, this is incredible stuff. And Bare Metal HW had just done a weathered build, And I was like, oh man, I could do that again. And I started picking up more cars again. Got in touch with my brother, got some of my old diecast back. And actually my first custom was not a weathered build. It was this VW Beetle here. And this one was special. This is an old Yachtming, nothing burger, cheap diecast. But what's special about this one is it actually is my first custom twice over, because when I was 8, I wanted to paint it up like Herbie, because back then you couldn't get any Herbie anything. The VW licensing was tough. So I tried painting it with model paint and a brush, and it turned out all gloopy, and the stripes weren't straight, and I got mad and I threw it in a drawer, and my brother still had it. And so I did. So I broke it down, used paint stripper. The top is molded out of air dry clay that I just kind of made a canvas top for it. I printed the decals out on my printer. I added the gas cap. I got the right wheels for it, and was like, all right, little Chuck, we've done it. We finally finished we finally finished your first custom. So that was my first of many customs. I just finished my 59th official custom project. And that's, there's actually considerably more than that. I usually go by the project itself. Like I just did one build that was 4 completely different diecasts, and those were like 58 A through D. And I just dropped a video today that was 4 more builds that I did for my nephews and my niece and my daughter. They all were like, hey, when are you going to make us a custom? And I was like, that's a great question. And like any proud uncle, I was like, let's get started together. We went through the vast archives that I have now, and they picked out their cars, and I was like, all right, now I'm going to show you how to drill it. And I was getting all cocky, and I was holding the car in my hand, and I had a 1/4-inch drill bit in the other, and I drilled a 1/4-inch drill bit straight into my hand. And so now that I've traumatized both of my nephews, they're fine. But and so is my hand now. I got a nice little just a little
oh yeah, battle scar
there. Yeah,
little battle scar.
You gotta pick up a few of those along the way. Anyway. So but yeah, I just finished that video, and it's a blast. I've given away more of my customs or than I've actually kept, because I think that's really part of the fun of it too, is being able to pass them on. And I love making the videos because I can give the car away, and I've got the videos and the photos, and those last forever. So it's been an amazing ride, because I really kind of got back into it right around 2020 when everything shut down, and I was feeling very isolated. And there's some of my builds up on screen now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And found the community. I had been in the big 1-to-1 scale car community for a long time. I was kind of burned out on that. I liked taking my car to car shows until I realized that most of the people that were coming up and talking to me wanted to point out all the things that were wrong with my car. And
that's always fun.
Then I was like, why am I paying money to do this? Because people would come and go, why a Valiant? And I'd go, why are you here? What did you drive? Anyway, that one, the one's going by now, the Anglia, that ended up in Oklahoma with my buddy JC. He has a auto parts store there, and I made that for him as a present.
Nice.
That was my second custom. The first weathered custom was that 59 Dodge, and then the second weathered build was that Anglia, and that was a really fun one. That was a super crusty build, but super
cool though. God, it's crazy. It's crazy how you can nail that. So good.
Thank you. Yeah, it's always been something that like I said, from the crack up days, I just love the idea of being able to replicate real world damage. And there's the Cruise Bruiser. I've built more of those than I've built of just about anything else. That was the other, you showed my van build, but I built 11 vans and 11 Cruise Bruisers for the Diecast SuperCon. And,
nice.
So I'm done building Cruise Bruisers.
I definitely love this this Gaslands build right here. That
was my first Gaslands build, that GTO, and that was actually it was a 3-blind mice build, And that one almost broke me in the hobby, because that's the third time I had repainted it, because for some reason the paint wasn't sitting right. It would just like immediately chip up down to the bare metal in huge chunks. So I don't know what was going on with the metal, and my prep work must have been off or something. But no, I once again just kind of hunkered down and was like, I am going to finish this thing. So it was late, but it's ended up being one of my most popular build videos. Actually, the Gaslands videos tend to get the most clicks. So nice. This one is the Torino Stalker. That's one of my favorite castings from the Black Wall era. It was kind of red line, kind of Black Wall. All the ones I've had. Well, that one was actually for Red Line Day, and I bought the cheapest red line I could find on eBay, and that was that Torino Stalker. So I was like, I'm going to build the cheapest complete red line I could find. Now, there were people selling bits and pieces of one, so I was like, I need at least the body and the chassis, and that one had it. So that was my first commission, was that green Nova. That somebody asked me to build a Nova for them. And that was really fun. That was my first tutorial build. Actually, I got a chipping and weathering kit from Vallejo and went through it step by step. And I was actually really pleased with how that kit worked. I used just the stuff in that kit. And
man, it's fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, the van is my favorite. We're going through the van one right now.
Wow.
That was the first time I really got to use my 3D printer. So the wheels with the blocks are 3D printed together. The shoes hanging on the door are 3D printed. The beanbag chair is actually made of clay. I made that, but there's a little boom box in there. You can see that's 3D printed. I did a 3D printed stove. I was just like, I got big into 3D printing on this one. It's amazing what you can do with it, but thank you.
Chuck, is there anything that you don't do? Because you do water slides, you do 3D printing. I mean, is there what's next? Is there anything else for you to tackle?
I would really I need to get better with my technical building. I need to get better with doing things like low riders and opening panels and stuff. Like, I don't really do stuff like that. The van has all open doors and stuff, but they're fixed in place. They're not hinged. And I'm fine with that, because I display my stuff just kind of sitting out. So, I don't really want people to open the doors. That was another commission, is that station wagon. But yeah, I would like to, I hide my lack of technical expertise behind my painting. This vet was interesting. That was a $5 build from Jamie over at Hanson Speed Shop. We had to build a car, a complete custom, for less than $5. And so I went to my thrift shop and I found the vet and the wheels that were on the vet, where they were 2 35-cent cars from the thrift shop. And the front gas tank is a bead from my daughter's bead cabinet. And the paint was something I got at Ollie's for $3. It was like a tester's paint smorgasbord, and I just thinned the paint with water to make the washes and stuff, and hand painted all the letters and stuff with a toothpick. I used a toothpick and a cosmetic sponge to do all of the paint, because I couldn't really do I couldn't buy a paintbrush. I was like, I'm going to do this like soup to nuts. The only thing that I think I gave myself the permission to use a drill to drill it open, but everything else, including the glue that sealed it up, I kept it under $5. Wow. And that was a very tough build.
Yeah, I bet. It came out great.
Yeah, thank you.
Look at this craziness.
Yeah, so that one was another 3 blind mice build. I built the car for the build, and then I built the base later, and the base has been painted since then, but I was experimenting with blacklight paint. And so the base is mostly 3D printed. The gantry and all of that stuff is just spare parts I found and solder wrapped around it to make cables and stuff like that. But that car was inspired by a gentleman named Virgil Suarez, who he goes by Dr. Cranky on YouTube, and he was my mentor when I was learning how to build 1/24 scale stuff. And so that was my tribute to him. Was I did a Blade Runner Domino's pizza delivery vehicle.
That's amazing.
Thank you. And
Is this a little baby croc?
Yeah, so that's actually a baby alligator from a model kit, and I gave it to my daughter, and she lost it, so I have a different alligator in there now. But I have a little alligator hidden in all of my photos. So this was my counterpoint to the other vet, and this is the world's most expensive custom diecast, where I did all sorts of 3D printed parts. I bought decals from, I think those are from Second Chance Redline. I just kind of like, just for giggles, like blew everything out of like, I was like, I'm using this $10 paintbrush, and I'm using this Iwata airbrush, and I'm using a compressor that costs $400 because I've got a 30-gallon compressor. Anyway, so I was just like, just as a counterpoint, here's what happens when you build the most expensive custom diecast car. And so I think it came out to like $10,000 or something. But I was like, just like being goofy and counting everything I could.
Yeah.
This is a build for my friend Adam. He's a huge Superman fan, and I wanted to try doing this is kind of a restoration plus. I wanted to have it restored to what it looked like, and that was a fun project because the back, it was the first time I'd used foil decals, so it's actually several layers, and this is before I got my white toner printer. So the front thing is a white decal sheet that was printed, and then I made foil decals to go in behind it and recreate the fancy foil decal that was on that one.
Man, fabulous. So clean.
Well, thank you. Yeah, every now and then I do a clean build, and then I have to do a palette cleanser and do something nice and grungy again.
Right. So. That's the name of the game. Do you mind if I share this album? Can I share it? I'm not sure if I can.
Sure. Yeah. You can put it in the.
Yeah. If anybody wants to take a look at it.
It's got some sneak peeks at what's ahead in there too. There's a few of them in there that the videos haven't been released yet, but you can take a peek in there. I'll let the audience get an exclusive sneak peek at what's ahead.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice. I like that. That's what is that? That's that one out of that fuel set, isn't it?
Yeah, oh man, it's based on an old actual gas thing that Texaco made. It was a very cool Art Deco-y kind of thing. Man, I can't remember the name of it. Someone in chat will figure it out. But that was for another Three Blind Mice build, and I think it was for Halloween or something. So I did it like it's an old circus van, and it's got like a monster had escaped out of it. I don't know if I've got a picture of as you scroll down, but the wheels are 3D printed. I made all the vines are based on real roots from weeds I pulled out. I guess I didn't get a picture in there, but you can see it in the video. I actually made like the top is cut out, and it's got like chain link that's been ripped out, and there's like a nest in there, and there's like bones from something that had eaten it. And I'm going to eventually, that one's going to go in a diorama where it'll look like it is sunk into like a swamp or something, and some kind of swamp monster is living in it. And that was really fun. That was one of my first. I've done a couple Halloween themed builds, and that one was a blast. But thank you very much. That was a really fun build.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah.
Friggin', I love how you just have, because I mean, tell me if you feel this way, like when you're customizing a car, it's like, you have this mindset where you're just trying to be meticulous. You're not trying to mess anything up, but it's like when you do your kind of style build, it's like, yeah, you're obviously fearless. You're drilling holes in. You're purposely making things decrepit, damaged and stuff like that. That's gotta be kind of gratifying.
It is. Like there's part of it that's nice because you don't have to really wait for things to dry to move on. Because if things get smudged or whatever, and so some people will argue that it's actually easier to do weathered than shiny, and in some ways it is, and in some ways it isn't. Because the thing for me, and the thing that I always struggle with, is it's so easy, especially at this scale, to go way overboard and get the details completely lost in the weathering. And so for me, it's more about measuring the restraint of going, okay, well, at this scale, things have to be a lot lighter than they would be on like a 124 scale or a 118 scale or something big, because everything looks darker when it's smaller. So, you have to go, okay, well, the tires need to be almost like a light gray. You don't think about tires as being black. Like the thing that I say over and over in my videos is, if you can avoid it, always avoid using white and black, because on a weathered build, especially, nothing is ever truly white and nothing is ever truly black. It's shades of gray. It's shades of tan. It's probably more yellow than you think it is. It's probably more green than you think it is. And so that's the part that I like the most about weathered builds, is finding the restraint to go, okay, less is more, back up. You're doing too much. You're going to just have the thing get lost in the mud. And, and I feel like I've done that on a few of my builds, but so I like watching my progress evolve along with each build. And now that I've done almost 60 builds, or it's really kind of cool to look back on those old ones and go, oh yeah, I've really fixed that one thing, or I'm still doing that thing. So
yeah, that's always a great thing if you're a customizer, if you're just getting into customizing.
Sure.
Like, go back and look at your old stuff and and see how you progressed, what you've changed, like a tactic or an approach on, and how much better it looks. Or maybe it'd be vice versa. You find something that you need to work on and work from there.
Well, and that's what I tell everybody, is like, when they say, what do I do if I want to do a custom? I was like, do it. Just start. Do it with what you got. Don't go out and buy anything. If you got some basic art supplies, do it with that, because I guarantee you're not going to be happy with the outcome, because it's going to be your first one.
Yeah.
And everybody goes, well, your first one was really good. And I was like, yeah, because you don't see the 50 125th scale models that I built before that one. Right?
Right.
Yeah. I've got my first weathered 125th scale build. It is not very good. I did it when I was like 12 years old. And I've kept it as a reminder, like, this is where we started. And, so and that's the thing everybody has to remember too. Like, you're watching Jakarta Diecast Project, and that's incredible. Yeah, it is. But he also built dozens of cars before he made his first video. So,
Absolutely.
cut yourself a little break, build it with what you got, then look at it and go, okay, how do I make this better? Well, I need a better brush. Okay, go get the better brush. Now build another one. Now what do you need? And improve one thing. That was the biggest thing I learned about building the big car. Is the problem is when you improve everything at once and something goes wrong, good luck chasing it down, because you just replaced everything. So what is it that's broken? So increments, pace yourself, go easy. It's okay. You don't need to have the full tap and die set to get the perfectly threaded posts. Use super glue on the first couple. It's going to be okay. And mix it up. Like, that's why I build shiny builds every now and then, just to prove to myself, okay, I can still do shiny builds if I want to,
Step away from your comfort zone a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I find amazing too, and that I'm realizing, especially after, because I've seen your builds before, and I know how amazing you are.
Well, thank you.
But especially going through the progressions and looking at each one of those builds, it made me realize something, that, weathering is not just weathering. It's like you have to adapt to the environment that you're building the car for.
Sure.
And I think a perfect example of that would be to look at some of those builds, those crazy builds that you did, where you got like vines and stuff coming out, and you got doors cut off, open, and you got all this stuff. And then look at David's Porsche. And look how you went from something that's like totally rusted and decrepit with vegetation growing out of it to something that's just kind of more like, I guess you could say on your scale would be a light dusting of weathering, but it's more like race effect, bugs,
right?
A little bit of smudging and stuff. So there's a real talent. There's a real skill to that.
Thank you. Yeah. I agree. Like that's the thing too. Like there's so much more than just throwing rust and dust on things. Cause you got to think, was this car sitting in a barn for, I built a build for Jay's Diecast Creations for his wife, Amanda. Her last name is Ferrari. So we all built Ferraris for her one year for her birthday.
Yep.
And I did a barn find. So that one, there's not going to be a lot of rust on that car because it's been sitting in a barn, but it's going to have a lot of dust on it. So, you got to think, okay, well, I built it so that there was a tarp that had kind of come off it. And so you got more dust on this part of the car, and you've got some smudges where somebody would have wiped away the dust to look in, and, and it might have some corrosion and stuff, but it's not going to have the same kind of weathering as a car that's been sitting outside, or a work truck, or a car from the East Coast that's going to have the rust from the bottom up, as opposed to a West Coast car that's going to rust from the top down. So there's a lot of stuff to consider. And again, the best thing is reference photos. Pinterest is your friend, especially if you're looking to do weathering. Just find lots of pictures of rat rods and cars sitting out in boneyards and stacks of junk cars. And there's so many amazing photos out there. Facebook groups are another great place for that. And go to car shows, take pictures of cars at car shows. You're going to get all kinds of stuff at Cars and Coffee, projects in progress. So you can, see what fiberglass looks like before it's painted, that kind of thing. And, always, I've got a huge Google photo library that's just sorted by, okay, here's cars that were on fire, here's cars that were underwater, here's cars that were race damage, because race weathering is actually really fun to do, because you have to build a shiny car and then do all of the different, and usually that's all stuff from the bottom up, because you're working with like all the rubber and stuff that gets kicked up, and the splatters if they were going over small puddles. And that's a huge effort in restraint, because you don't want these huge like rooster tails up the side of the car. You want to have just a little bit, as Bob Ross used to say, 3 hairs and some air as far as your brush strokes go. Just a little bit to get that little bit of subtlety going. And it's sometimes so little that the eye doesn't get it, but the brain picks up that little subtlety and goes, oh, that looks really real. So like that Porsche is one of my favorite builds, because that was really, I think, my first racing weathering that I did. And I was really happy with how that turned out, because I was doing stuff with like a toothpick and a stiff brush where you just kind of hold the toothpick out and you just gently flick along the bottom. And then I'd take a Q-tip with some thinner and get rid. Okay, it's up too high up here. And then I'd work it down. And so that was a really cool project. Now, I was really flattered that David asked me to do that. And it was cool that we were able to send it off. And it's somewhere in Eastern Europe now. I think Serbia or something like that. But it's really cool. It's really neat that I've got cars now. I've got cars in New Zealand and Switzerland and Canada, all over the place. So my goal is to eventually have one of my customs on all 7 continents. So I got to find somebody at the base in Antarctica to send a custom to.
Yep, I was about to say.
Yeah,
that's gonna be the challenging one.
Exactly.
So for anybody who's wondering, you do have write-ups on how to do weathering on your channel, right?
Not write-ups, but I do step-by-step in my videos.
Okay.
I do a full, the Nova one is the one that was really the most tutorial heavy that I did, where I literally went step-by-step through the kit that I bought and like read the kit instructions while you saw me doing it in the actual video. But I started writing stuff for my Patreon. I need to get better at writing more stuff for my Patreon. But yeah, if anybody has any questions, I'm always happy to answer them. I'm an open book when it comes to weathering. I know some folks tend to be a little close to the vest with their customs, and that's fine. I have no problem with that. For me, I don't see it as, I'm not feeding my family with this. If you want to use this and get better at it, and this helps you, oh my gosh, that's so flattering that something I did is helping you get better at what you're doing. That's the part that I love about this hobby, is that people have been, like Bare Metal HW showed everything he did in his customs, and Matchbox Garage, and Jakarta doesn't narrate, but you see everything he does in his video. There's no secret sauce there. So, for the guys who are making their livings at it, there's one guy here in Florida that he sells weathered 1/18 scales, and he won't tell anyone anything, and that's fine. That's his livelihood. So, but for me, it's fun. I've made a little money on the side, and it's been nice, the getting the channel monetized, and I have amazing patrons that support me, and that helps pay for Diecast Breakdown, which that can kind of lead into we never did get to your point of why I changed the name of the channel, but yeah,
we got
so
time.
we got time. But yeah, so that was yeah, I'm always happy to share, and it's just so cool to me that I can give back to a community that has given me so many friends and great connections and great stories over the years.
Yeah, you're a staple, and man, I'm so happy. I've always been so happy to see you guys doing what you're doing, because it's
Thank you.
reaching out, and just a lot of us are getting more into the depths of diecast,
Sure.
not just okay, I purchased a model car and here it is, you know, more type. But we're talking
Right.
about people that we're talking about manufacturers. We're talking, you know, world-renowned customizers, collectors. You know, you guys have Bruce Pascal on. You know, that's
We
a
did,
huge
yeah.
deal. Jakarta, obviously Felix from
Yeah.
Tarmac, all that stuff, and you guys are doing a huge thing. So
Thank you.
I think I could speak for the whole diecast community. Thank you for what you guys do.
Oh, well, thank you so much for watching. And yeah, that was just kind of a I have to, like so many people, blame Mark McHotwheel for getting me into this, because he started doing his podcast, and he had David on Twice Diecast, and I was like, man, these guys have got some good chemistry. Like, they're having a really good time. And I was like, I want in on this. Like, and I was like, you know, I know Mark's doing his own thing, but I went to both of them and I was like, hey guys, I got this crazy idea. What if we did like Top Gear, but with diecast cars? And, you know, we have an A block where we do news and reviews and what's coming up. And then we have a B block where we do a themed discussion. And then we have a C block that's an interview. And just see who we can get. And, you know, the first couple ones, you know, our first interview was with Diecast Heroes magazine. Tony and Carmen were really generous and got us, you know, our first interview. And then they got us Fireball Tim Lawrence. And, you know, that he designed the 1989 Batmobile, which is really cool because it's in the latest Flash movie. So it's kind of cool to see his work out there. You know, he does a lot of work in a ton of movies now still. And he's been on our show a couple of times. And then they just kind of, you know, one thing led to another. And we got Mike Zarnock on. We got the late, great Chris Walker on because of Mike. And, you know, we miss him dearly. It was so sad to hear about his passing, but we're honored that we were able to meet him and talk to him when we did. And, you know, I think probably the first guy to make a living customizing 1/64 scale, Chris Walker. And Bruce Pascal got to, you know, he showed us the world's rarest, you know, or world's most valuable Hot Wheels car that's in his collection. Like, he just had it on his desk in this little like cellophane wrapper. I was like, holy cow. We're, you know, we're not even actually there. And I'm still in awe that he actually was like, yeah, I'll put it on the show. And
get the rubber gloves out.
Yeah, we got Brendan Vituski on, you know, and he's designed some of my favorite diecast cars, and he's also a big Herbie buff. And so to get to geek out with him was super cool. And, you know, it just kind of one led to another. And I've got a big shout out to David at Twice Diecast, because he's been our interview wrangler, and he kind of took that on as, you know, I'm a father of two now, and I've got a lot of other stuff going on. And I really would love for that to be my full-time job, to just be talking diecast all day. But we're not there yet. we're almost to 3,000 subscribers. And, you know, we've finally gotten to where I think this is the first week we've taken off in probably 10 or 12 weeks now. You know, we were kind of irregular for a bit. A bunch of us had different stuff going on. Mark was moving. I had some personal matters to take care of. David was off somewhere going, when are we going to record again? But you know, we're back, and you know, we took this one off, and we're going to be back. We're going to have Tony and Carmen back on to do a retrospective, because like Diecast Heroes magazine had just come out. And guys, if you haven't checked out Diecast Heroes magazine, do yourself a favor and do that. Fireball does some really great art in it. It is a feast for the eyes that they do. And, you know, so many cool bits of pop culture and really cool customs from around the world. And you get to see a lot of the people from Instagram and YouTube, and people who don't even, you know, do social media will submit cars to that. So you get to see all kinds of great inspiration. They have really fun themes. And they publish just about anyone who sends in a submission. So it's a really, you know, great thing that they're doing for the community as well. And they're two very huge gearheads, and, you know, just a delight to talk to. And, you know, we're trying to do more lives like this one. Those have been a lot of fun. We're really enjoying having folks come on and do lives. We just had SRT Jovita on, and she was amazing. she's somebody that we met at Diecast SuperCon, along with the guys meeting up with you. I mean, I know you've met Mark before, but getting to
once or twice
see David in person, and I just got to see David in person. He swung by Ocala. I'm up here in Gainesville, Florida. Just about the only part of Florida where you could say up here, and and again, it's great, because we would have never met these people otherwise. And our end goal with the channel, it's not our end goal, but we'll feel like we've reached it when we get Jay Leno on. He's our kind of our North Star to get on, because he's got diecasts, and he has been featured in Diecast Heroes magazine. He has a pretty big diecast collection. We'd love to get Magnus Walker on as well. He's got a ton of Hot Wheels that have got Urban Outlaw all over them. And I just picked up a signed copy of his book, Dirt Don't Slow You Down. It's a really cool book. So I really have a lot of respect for him, because he's one of these guys that, like me, is just like, open it up, drive it, get it dirty, leave the keys in it. He says in the book, he leaves the keys in all his cars. He doesn't lock it, and he leaves the keys, and he's like, people leave it alone. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, because you're Magnus Walker. And if anybody stole a Magnus Walker Porsche, they would not get very far.
Yeah. He looks like a big guy too. I don't think people.
Yeah, I wouldn't mess with Magnus. No. His
Yeah.
name is Magnus, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that's enough.
We've got and we've gotten to talk to just about every manufacturer out there. We haven't gotten, I think the only real ones we haven't gotten anyone from Inno64, Kyosho, or Matchbox, of all places. But we've had Hot Wheels, we've had Mini GT, we had Felix from Tarmac Works. That was a fantastic interview. We love talking to Felix. We had Tom of Tom's Modelato, who used to be the 80% shareholder of Greenlight. We've had the guys from Auto World and Round 2 and Johnny Lightning on a few times. So, and that's the great part too, is getting to actually meet the people that do the cars and make the designs, and it's wild to me. I think the wildest realization was when we had Brendan Vidusky on, and the guys at Mattel. It really sounds like one day they're just sitting around like, what if we did this car? And it's like, okay, there's you think, okay, well, it's Mattel. It's $1 billion brand just in Hot Wheels. They got to have people doing focus groups and market research. And it's like, no, Brandon's like, I want to do a Camaro and have my name on the side. Okay, let's do that. And, so if you ever see Tusky on the side of something, Tuske, that's his little abbreviation of his last name. And, there's actually a 5-pack with a Camaro on it right now that's got Tusky on the side. And I was like, I see you, Brandon. But, yeah, so you get all those, like Ryu used to have all those little Easter eggs hidden in his designs, like the RX-7 that had the stethoscope in the back seat for his cancer doctor. Yeah, that had his doctor had an RX-7, so he did that car and put that in there for him. And I was like, that's so cool that they were just like, this is a car we want to do. And you got freaking Auto World doing Dodge Caravans now. It's like they're just like, I love that we're at a point in this stage of community where they're doing some of these like second and third tier type cars that were important to people, but they're we're not doing another Hemi-Cuda. Okay, great. We've got 5 million Hemi-Cudas out there. We got 5 million Mustangs out there. But
yeah, the imagination,
we're getting kind of the let's see what kind of creative stuff we can do. And I think it was Glenn Chu at Mini GT that was talking about how they purposely try to make sure that they don't do a car that anybody else has ever done, or when they're picking new cars, because they want to have something that stands out or something unique. And Tarmac Works is kind of the same way. Like they just Tarmac Works is amazing because it's really like Felix just was kind of like, one day I'm going to start this company, and he did it. And yes, David, hashtag make a Saturn, where
make a Saturn.
That's actually the secret end game of all of our of doing this show, is to get people to make our cars, to make a 64 Valiant and make a 93 Saturn. And Mark's already set. They've made a ton of dots and 510s, so he's like, yeah, I'm good. So but I know he's I think he wants his specific car made, and I think he's well on his way of making that happen, because Mark gets it done. So, but yeah, they're both great guys, and really, you know, that kind of was what led to changing the name of the channel, because it used to be called Flying Valiant after my car, which is called the Flying Valiant. And my brother made a really awesome logo for it, the Flying Valiant Builds logo. And, you know, when we started doing the podcast, it was like, well, do we start another channel? And do we, you know, and I didn't really want to do that because I had just hit 1,000 subscribers. And I was like, I don't want to do the whole claw the way up from the bottom thing again. And, you know, we were going to call it like the Diecast Podcast Network at some point, and we were going to have like a bunch of different shows about different things. And I was like, well, let's just broaden it out. Diecast Media Network. It's, you know, and the end goal for that channel for me was I wanted to make it so that it's not my channel anymore. It is a channel where we have contributors and we have people who want to submit a video. Maybe they've got a smaller channel, and that's why we have the small channel shout out in every episode of Diecast Breakdown to shout out smaller, you know, builders and collectors that are doing cool videos that don't get enough press. And you know, my goal with the channel was to have, you know, maybe we have somebody who wants to make videos but doesn't want to go through the hassle of running their own channel, and so they submit videos to us and we distribute it for them, and, you know, whatever ad revenue they make off those videos, we give that to them as their payment. And I've had nobody take me up on that yet, so but I haven't really like been publicizing that much yet. So like my goal was, I was like, let's get to at least like 3,000 subscribers before we start getting anywhere crazy, and now we're almost there. So, you know, I'm starting to put feelers out there. David did a really cool video for a series that we call Destination Diecast, which is where we, you know, you do a road trip somewhere and you stop and, you know, at some place cool like Cubbyhole or a really cool vintage toy shop, and you go around, or like Diecast Extreme. He did one for Diecast Extreme that was really cool. So yeah. So when am I coming to Tampa? Oh well, yeah. Fia came through and I bought him ice cream at in Gainesville. So yeah, I need to
buy ice cream.
Yeah. So that was kind of the end goal for me, because, you know, I'm a guy with a day job and 2 kids. It's really hard for me to keep the channel going regularly. And what I would love for it to be eventually is some kind of cooperative thing where we have contributors, and, you know, Mark and David were the first people to generously offer their time and expertise for free, which is amazing. And, you know, just do it for the love of the project. And, you know, every penny that we make from those videos goes back into investing in things like, you know, us being able to go to Diecast SuperCon, or us getting StreamYard so we can do more live stuff. Like, that's all that money goes immediately back into the channel and supporting the channel, and getting, you know, better microphones for us, and getting, you know, better equipment so we can improve the quality of the show, so we'll attract better guests. And, you know, as the channel grows, so we all succeed. So so it's worked out really well for us. That it's really great that these guys have both, you know, the 3 of us are able to check our egos and go, you know, this isn't about us. This is about making something that is useful for the community, something that we wish was out there that nobody else was doing. And, you know, and fortunately, there's already people doing a lot of these really great things, like Ministry of Diecast and Lamley, and doing all the, and you with, you know, like showing the J cases and T hunted, and you know, the, like, here's what's coming up next. Here's the new stuff coming out. Here's what I'm finding while I'm hunting. You know, that's all covered. Everybody's doing that already. So what if we had something where we just had a set group of hosts, and we have a topic that we discuss, or we sit down with an influencer or a creator or an owner or somebody that, you know, and we like having other YouTubers on, and we've loved having you on, because you get to do stuff that's like, you know, they may not talk about themselves much on the channel. They might just be talking about what they do or what they build. And so we were so honored that Yogi would give us his first on camera. It was actually, I think, his first video interview period. That the first time people had really seen his face and really like seen him talk. And yeah, and shout out to Mark for making that happen, because he had been a patron of Yogi's for a long time. And we just reached out and we're like, hey, we're doing this thing. And, you know, we've seen dozens of your builds, and we don't know why you're doing it, or how you're doing it, or, you know, is this what you do full time? And yeah, that's what he does. He was just like, I want to be a YouTube creator. I worked at a bank, and I don't want to do this anymore. I want to create things. And he took his cell phone, and his wife helped him, and they started making videos. And by God, that's what he does full time for his living now. Is he just makes customs all day, and he has kept all of them. Like that's the crazy thing. He doesn't sell them. People have, you know how much somebody would pay for a Jakarta Diecast project car? A
Absolutely.
lot, because those
Yeah.
cars are freaking famous. They get millions and millions and millions of views on those cars. Like they're one of a kind, bar none, best customizer out there, you know. And he's doing it with stuff. He's raiding his wife's pantry, taking caps off of bottles and cutting up the plastic to make it happen. So she's coming in and there's like foil over her condiments and stuff because he's used the caps or something. And he makes all his money off of the ad revenue and his patrons and selling shirts and stuff. And that's it, you know. And he just does it because that's what he was like, this is what I want to do. And, you know, and yeah, you can do that, but you have to be able to be like, okay, full time, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop everything and coast on what I can, you know, survive off of until you make it happen. And so we're trying to, you know, do this and keep our day job. So the growth is a little slower than we would like, but it's okay because the people that are coming in are really strong. We love our subscribers, our patrons. You know, we get a solid group of folks that show up, you know, Eddie G and Rudy Moons and Via, and, you know, you come in and, you know, watch all the videos and comment and stuff. And it's so cool to, you know, see those regulars and get to form relationships with them at the same time. They're as much a part of the show, I think, as we are when it comes down to it, especially when we get to ask them questions from the audience and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah. It's an amazing experience that you guys provide.
Thank you.
And Jakarta, man, Yogi, he's just I don't even consider him a customizer. I consider him an engineer.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, because he makes just stuff that shouldn't work. And
he's on another level.
Yeah, he is like that. He is a master technician. But at the same time, he, you know, what he does is, of course, art. You know, it's an art to make something do what it shouldn't. And, you know, and him and another guy I really like, Chris Dickinson over at SK75 Works, over in the UK. He does really cool stuff. And, you know, he hasn't been doing too many custom builds lately, but, you know, I loved his stuff because he builds these engines out of just bits of styrene that look incredibly detailed. And, you know, and now he's doing these laser cut kits. I love his laser cut kits. They're fantastic. There's another guy, I want to shout out, Monster Model Works. He does model railroad laser etched kits, but he does S scale, which is 1/64 scale for those who don't know. And his kits are also fantastic. So if you don't want to pay the shipping from the UK, Larkspur is based in Colorado, and Monster Model Works is a subsidiary. Like his wife does Larkspur, which is like mementos and laser engraved, you know, keepsakes and stuff. And Monster Model Works is under it. And but yeah, there's so many great kits and stuff out there now, and so much great information. Diecast Dude's another guy that we really we love following his stuff, and he's always at Tom's Model Auto in the Netherlands, which is just like this massive warehouse of stuff. And so you get to see all the cool stuff that's coming out of Europe, and you know, it's so cool because it's, you know, each little section of the world has their own thing. You got the Australian builders and the UK builders and the Eastern European builders, and, you know, the South American, Latin American, Mexican builders. They've got, you know, I'll watch their videos sometimes because they're doing really incredible stuff as well. And, you know, Indonesia, especially, you know, you got all the Indonesian builders doing incredible stuff. You know, it's not just him, it's like Puri, and there's you know, just a whole bunch of them down there doing really, really inspiring stuff. And we can see all that, you know, in real time. Like this is the good old days, guys. Like we don't need, you know, the nostalgia is great, but the scope and the reach and the selection of inspiration and castings and accessories, it's never been better. It only continues to go up, and that's just so wonderful to be a part of that.
Yeah, amen to that. Yeah, and so many companies and people are trying to step up and provide a better, easier experience to do that kind of level of work, with like 3D printed parts and more realistic wheel
Mhm.
looking setups. Like I've almost completely forgot about using Mattel Real Riders. Because
Right?
obviously I'm kind of a low, and I've kind of switched my stance on it thanks to Sammy at 713. He's kind of the one that inspired me,
Yeah.
and Jakarta, of course. But yeah, the wheel selections are just getting incredible, and so many more people are stepping up and just building these
Mhm.
two-piece wheel designs where you got the
Oh,
rim and
yeah.
you got the barrel, and they're deep. Or if you want little skinnies, you can get little skinnies, and it's just
Yeah, the brake
everybody's stepping up.
calipers and yeah.
Yeah,
And speaking of real riders, by the way, for those who are watching right now, if you go to if you're a Redline Club member and you go to the Hot Wheels collectors thing, they're 30% off their real rider sets right now. I just had somebody post that in one of the Facebook groups and I was like, "Oh man." So,
nice.
they're sold out of series 1, but 2 through 4 are still available and their decal set is 30% off as well. I didn't get the decal set cuz the decal set is it's okay. But I don't need I like I said, I've already got my printer. I can, print white toner now. Which is incredible. It's very expensive, but it's so worth it to be able to do whatever I want in white toner. Again, something that I wouldn't have thought would be even remotely possible even 10 years ago.
Yeah. And the cost is exponentially more on like a white toner setup than it is like you could 3D print parts cheaper,
Oh yeah,
a
yeah.
lot
No,
cheaper.
the printer, I think to get started with a printer and the toner setup is close to $700, 700 bucks. And it's I got incredibly lucky one day. My parents had a neighbor that he was a photographer who was moving out of his house in their retirement community, and he left a printer that was capable of using the white toner, and he gave it to me, and it was incredible. It was this HP LaserJet, really nice printer, and he was like, "Yeah, you can have that." And I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, I knew what it was," and but just the toner alone for that is $350 because
Mm.
you got to, first of all, the only place that makes it is in Germany, so you got to have it shipped from Germany. So I think it was like 150 something for the printer, and then another 150 to ship it.
Wow.
But for the toner, just the toner. So it's an investment, but it's been cool because I've been able to make decals for friends and share them. And there was a time where I thought I could do that professionally and make decals for people, but it takes too much time. I'm not that fast with Photoshop. So I still do decals occasionally for friends and stuff, but it makes my custom game a lot stronger, and it's worth it for that.
Yeah,
So
sure.
yeah. Yeah, WW Replicas knows he makes decals. So and by the way, check him out if you need custom decal work done, because there's guys out there that do it. And it's fantastic, and it's expensive. Like, it's not going to be cheap, but it's a lot cheaper than buying your own printer and having it done. And it's, yeah, that's the other thing too, is like, I think like like you were saying, it's like the most expensive cheap hobby out there, and it starts with $1, but then the next thing you're buying a Redline Club car for $35, or you're buying a Tamika limited vintage for 35-40 bucks, or an Inno or a mini GT, and that's, but they're worth it. They're works of art in 1/64 scale. And the car, I was over at looking at a buddy of mine's collection. He's looking to get rid of a bunch of diecast cars that he's had over the years, 1/18 scale to 1/64 scale. So if anybody needs a bunch of Mustangs and Ford related stuff, hit me up. I'll get you in touch with this guy, because he's looking to unload a bunch of stuff. But he was showing me his first 1/18 scale. It was an Ertl 1/18 scale 1970 Mustang, and just the from the early 90s, and the amount of progress that we've made since then on 1/18 scale. Like, the stuff that was on that 1/18 scale would not pass muster in a 1/64 scale car now. And because it wasn't like the trim around the windows wasn't painted, the windshields weren't painted, or the windshield wipers weren't painted. The detail was very, very minimal. And now you've got these cars with multiple opening doors, and the door thing still, I agree with David. They're better when they don't open, because the door gaps are just, they're too big. But the lensed headlamps and stuff, the side mirrors, the details in louvers and door panels and interior work that's just, you know, incredible. It couldn't have been done back then. You didn't have the sculpting technology, the computers, the 3D scanning that they can do now. It's incredible. I'm just blown away now. I've been following a lot of this AI stuff, and the stuff that you can do now with just a cell phone, a regular cell phone, and you can use it for 3D scanning. Now they've got software that you can just go around a car and 3D scan it and shrink it down. There's Thingiverse is a site where you can get a lot of really cool designs for 3D printing, and somebody has gone into a junkyard and scanned a couple of cars with their phone and then released the designs, and they even scaled them down to 1/64 scale, so you could print a crushed car off of this design, and it's free, you know, and you can get a 3D printer now for, you know, a decent resin 3D printer that will print I think it's small. You're looking at like a 3x5 card size thing, but you can fit a full car on there, and, you know, for less than $200, and the thing of resin is $30. You can't beat it. Easy. And all the software is free, guys. So all the training you need is on YouTube. There's even like spreadsheets out there where people have shown, you know, here's the settings I use to get this type of results. And you know, here's the ambient temperature in the room and the relative humidity. And like, okay, nerds, thank you. I mean, first of all, thank you, nerds, but also nerds, you know. TMI. Yeah, thanks so much. So, but yeah, it's incredible. Like, and that's the part that I love about the hobby. Like for me, when I was, you know, building my big car, I wanted to do the whole thing. The only reason I didn't do the interior is because you can't do the interior without buying a sewing machine that's several $1,000s. And I was like, that's not worth it, because the interior itself will cost several $1,000s. And then I'd be stuck with a sewing machine that I could do nothing with. You know, I could resell it, but it's not worth it.
Too much work.
So that and some of the machine work we farmed out, but literally everything else was built in my garage or my living room by my wife and Ben and I. And you know, it was fantastic. And, you know, the final paint on the car I didn't do, but I earned it by helping a guy move his entire paint shop. And so I kind of contributed that. I was there for the entire painting process. So,
nice. Yeah. Going back to what you were saying about like how far diecast has come. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, even Hot Wheels, even the major player, I mean, they've done so much better with their castings. I mean,
sure.
David and I were talking about it. This casting came light years compared to where it used to be.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Even the mainline Hot Wheels, you know, they're still, you know, not fully 1/64 scale on a lot of stuff. And I get why they do that. It's because the cars need to fit on the tracks. And, you know, if you're going to do like that 73 Honda Civic is going to be way too big, because it needs to be able to go down the orange track and be able to fit between the little spinners on the track. And you know, so you got to have, I think people have also pointed out that Celica Supra, the 82 Celica, is way too big.
Long. Yeah.
It's long. It's very long. And, you know, again, it's to fit the track. We talked to Brendan about that. And so, you know, then you got, you know, other cars, like you got like Jada. I just picked up the 62 Caddy today. That's and it's huge, you know, like this is the Matchbox 59 Dodge, and that's the Jada. And both of these are supposedly 1/64 scale. So, you know, the Dodge is obviously not 1/64 scale.
Something's not adding up there.
Exactly. So, you know, the guys like Auto World and Greenlight, who have really like worked at being true 1/64 scale, that, you know, matters a lot to me. I know David was another guy that kind of got me to pay attention to that. And it was actually one of the things that got me out of the hobby in the first place, was when I started getting older and going, wait a second, the semi-truck cab the semi-truck is like maybe 1/87th, 1/100th scale to sit next to this VW that's clearly like 1/50th scale. You know, this isn't working for me anymore. I can't park these two cars next to each other with a straight face and go, yes, these are part of the same set. So So yeah, like that kind of stuff is really cool. But yeah, like the main lines, especially with like Hot Wheels and Matchbox, have really stepped things up with these new cars. And I love that they're actually bringing back stuff like that 82 Seville that was an old Blackwall era design, old Larry Wood design that's coming back.
Yeah.
And like I love that they're keeping some of that stuff alive. They brought back that Dodge Rampage casting that I really liked.
Mhm.
But
that was a hit for you.
it was, yeah. No, I love, I'm a Valiant guy, so I gotta love quirky, slow, economical vehicles. And I actually almost bought a Dodge Rampage once, and I'm very glad I didn't. And because I'm a glutton for punishment, I bought an 86 Jeep Comanche instead. And oh boy, I have never gotten more compliments on a car I hated so much. I loved that truck, and I hated that truck because it was always breaking. And it was the last of the AMC era Jeeps. You go down the road at 50 miles an hour, you can watch the entire hood wobble because the metal was so thin and poorly reinforced. Great looking truck, fantastic looking truck. It had beautiful dark blue metallic paint job. It had the hood or the roof visor. We had bed liner in it. It had the white decals on the Jeep logo on the back, so they popped, and it looked fantastic. Thing, absolute turd of a truck. But we replaced the entire engine with a crate motor, and it was still terrible. And but yeah, so yeah, those quirky vehicles, it's great to see coming out there. So let's see, Sean's got a question for Chuck. What is the custom you're most proud of? I would say, and I had David ask me this recently on a What's Cracking episode, and it would be this Dodge van that I did. I actually have it here with me.
There it is.
The one that we were looking at earlier, just because this was the first time I was really like, I'm going to cut the car. I'm going to do 3D printing. I'm going to, I was really happy with how the rust turned out on the roof, and we did, the paint on the side to make it look like it was painted and graffitied, and it's got posters on the inside doors.
So good.
And the shoes hanging on the side. That one, I don't know if I'm ever going to do one this detailed again because it took so long to do, but man, it was rewarding, and went really well. But I mean, it's tough to pick, and the only reason why I have that handy is because David made me think about it first. But yeah, I've like I said, it's been 59 different projects so far, and
yeah, just off of what we reviewed on your album, I would have to say that van would be my favorite. And then that bus that we were trying to figure out the name of.
That oh my gosh, it's called something. It's called something like Hull and Gas or something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But or Gas and Go, I don't know. But yeah, and it's a total fantasy casting. And that's another one where it's like, yeah, no way that's actually 1/64 scale. That thing is easy HO scale or smaller because of what the size it would need to be an actual tanker truck. But it's just a great casting. It's just a really great looking one. And, I like some of the fantasy ones. I know some people are down on the fantasy ones, but I think some of them are really great. The Cruise Bruiser, this guy is a really great one. I was really, the El Segundo coupe that they just came out with. I really like that design.
That one's
really
cool.
Yeah.
It's like based off of a 240Z, I think, isn't it?
I think so. It's got that. It's got kind of, it reminds me a bit of the Shelby Daytona a little bit as well. Kind of even some TVR type influence to it. But yeah, it's just a really sleek design, and El Segundo is where Mattel's headquarters is. So I thought that was very clever. So
I like, contrary to popular belief, there are some unlicensed castings that I really like. I like the Erikenstein rod. I think
that's a great
really cool
one too.
Yeah, there's lots of potential there for all kinds of cool
A lot
things.
of customizers use that for bits and pieces. I've seen that that truck incorporated into, I guess it's a truck, incorporated into a lot of different stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of some of them obviously are a little over the top and a little sci-fi-ish, but and that's always been kind of a fun one for me too, is when people try to make a car that's not a real car but looks like it could be a real car. And when that's done really well, like the El Segundo, where you're like, I swear I've seen this car for real before, but it's not. It's a completely unique design, and that's, I think, really cool. And I'm sure it's a blast for the designers to get to really kind of go, what if I was designing a real car? What would that look like? So Mikey points out maybe a little Opel GT. Yeah, I could see some Opel GT in that. But yeah, that's
that Opel Cadet that Matchbox did. That's fantastic.
isn't that a great casting? Yeah,
good.
love that one. I actually just picked up another one because they got it in orange now, and I really like the orange.
Yeah, so good.
But, yeah, I'm actually really trying to not pick up castings now because of just because it's a paint variant. Because for me, they're raw materials. Like there's a few cars, if it's got a really good design, and I try to, for me, I like the red, orange, and yellow paint schemes, the stripes, like the Toyota stripe paint scheme, or you see it in a lot of, it's actually, my brother worked it into my original Flying Valiant logo, the red, orange, and yellow. And so I actually have a case in my bedroom that's just the red, orange, and yellow design cars. And so there's some old Blackwell era, the Porsche 928 Real Rider that Hot Wheels had the red, orange, and yellow on the side of it. And the Trino Stalker didn't have red, orange, and yellow, but it had like a yellow, orange, and white paint scheme, the number 3 on it. That's I think my favorite Tampo design that they did. Was just I love that. It's very classic super 70s design.
Yeah.
So other than that, I try to, when I look at cars, I'm looking at them as, what could I do with them? What could I customize this into? And unfortunately, my eyes are often bigger than my stomach when it comes to that sort of thing. I've got more cars. Like if I stopped buying cars now and started customizing and did one a day, I could probably go my whole life customizing the cars that I have.
Yeah, that's
that's the tough thing, is they're so easy to collect because they're so small individually, but then you put them all together and you're like, oh my gosh, what have I done?
It's a curse.
Yeah.
It's a curse.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Sean brings up another unlicensed casting that I like too, and like your thoughts on this, the Mod Rod.
Oh, the Mod Rod.
Mod Rod's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. They just did another one. It's called like the Max something. Max. It's a very similar Mod Max or something like that, but it's another 32 Ford looking one. That just kind of came out. They just did a SoCal kind of design on it. Max Steel, that's the one. Thanks, Sean.
Max
Steel. That's a good one. I kind of like the weird, like you got that little propeller type thing in the front of it. The Mod Rod is an interesting one. I know that's kind of a polarizing one for people, but I don't mind them. Especially if you're going to customize them, I think I think it's important to have cars like that are easy for people to customize, because you want something that would look really good and have a good platform base for the people who don't want to do the resin molding and the 3D printed parts and all that stuff. And that's the thing too. Like I appreciate people who are willing to share customs at all skill levels. If you're doing wheel swaps, share your wheel swaps, man. Why not? That's great. The fact that you did something with this other than what it was originally intended is fantastic. The desire to take something and make it your own is, I think, probably the best part of big car culture and small car culture. Being able to go, okay, here's what I want to do. I want to make this car my own. And so I like having cars like that are easy. I just picked up another one, like the Corvair Stinger that Hot Wheels did, that had the kind of crazy scoop in the back and the louvered things. And that's another one I'm looking forward to customizing. I don't really have to do anything to the body on it because it's already been customized, and I can just focus on the paint and have fun with that.
Yeah, it's good. Let's see, another one that I thought of, the Time and Taxi. I don't know what it is about Time and Taxis.
I know, right? It's like an old Toyota Crown design. But I like that one because it looks like it's a little post-apocalyptic. It's got parts missing from it. It's got intercoolers sticking out the front. It's got one door that opens for some reason.
Yeah, it's got two big air filters sticking out of the hood.
Yeah, right.
Pretty cool.
It's fun, and there's like a station wagon version of it too. The Lolux, as Mikey pointed out, the Lolux is another fun one that I appreciate. I like that lowrider one that they just did recently. That one's pretty cool with the motor wobbles when it rolls.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
The Glory Chaser, Sean, yes, is another great one.
Yeah, Glory Chaser is pretty cool. I did have a collecting question for you.
Sure.
And I asked David the same question. Do you feel like most people are going to start swaying away from Mattel mainline stuff and going to like premium diecast?
I think they have to. I think you have to, because the frustration of collecting Hot Wheels now is so palpable in the air. Like any Facebook group I go on now, half of the posts are people complaining about scalpers or not being able to find anything. And you were pointing out earlier how hard it is to find a super anymore. And I mean, that's your thing, is hunting for supers and chases and going through and getting the cases. I talked to we got 3 Walmarts in Gainesville. We got 3 Walmarts and a Target. And I was talking to one of the guys that works the shelves there, just doing the thing that, David recommends everybody do, talk to the people, get to know them, be friendly with them. Don't ask anything of them. Just kind of, be a good representative of the hobby and, let the good vibes do the work for you. And the guy was like, yeah, man, there's like 5 dudes that show up at this Walmart every day when it opens to go through stuff. Because nobody knows when they're coming in. You don't know what the next shipment is. You don't know what the case is. And these guys, like, they're all kind of retired dudes, and this is all they do. And, I've run into a few of them occasionally, and they'll just be like in Dollar Tree with like, they've taken everything off of the shelf. This one guy had taken all the cars off the pegs and put them in the cart, and then was putting them back on the cart as he was discounting them. So if he got any he wanted, it was already in the cart. It was like, all right, well, cool, good for you. But if that's your thing, that's your thing. It's fine. This guy, it's a little unconventional, but at least he wasn't like going in the back and pulling cases off of pallets or whatever. This is stuff that was already on the shelf. And there's another guy. There was a guy at he's not in operation anymore, but he was at the local flea market that he would go in and he would just buy the entire stock off of Walmart and then sell all the cars for $3 a piece at his flea market booth. It's like, all right. So, it's frustrating. I think that until it gets much easier for people to just order them by the case, which you can do from Dollar Tree. You can order a case straight from Dollar Tree's website. I think until that happens and people decide it's easier to do that, and there's not the people out there that are willing to just kind of go out like every stinking day and go through and poach things, it's always going to be there. And, people are going to eventually go, why am I spending so much time and so much money doing this when you're spending $40-$50 on a super, when you could spend $40-$50 on an Inno or a Tamika or a Tarmac Works and get something that is beautiful and so much more rare than an STH. And, I get it. It ain't the same without the flame. That there's a reason why that slogan exists. Because Inno 64 is not going to spark nostalgia for people. Tarmac Works, love them. Not going to spark nostalgia for people. But, that Hot Wheels logo, that evokes something in you, the feel of nothing feels like a Hot Wheels wheel, and nothing feels like a real rider. There's something tactile about that, and that's what people are going for. The people that collect them are not going for them because they're accurate or because they're the best at this or that. Like they're probably best for track. I'll give Hot Wheels that. Nothing is better on the track than a Hot Wheels. Maybe some of the Johnny Lightnings that were made, in the 90s for racing, those were really good. But, the FTE Hot Wheels cars, even your regular Hot Wheels cars now, nothing goes down a track like a Hot Wheels car. And nothing, I think, ever will, because that is the focus. This is a car designed to go down a track. This is a car designed to evoke that emotion of childhood, that nostalgia, that feel of something that is from a heightened reality. That it's almost never bone stock. It's always got some kind of modification to it because it is a Hot Wheel. So, the emotion to that and the memories to that You can't shake it. It's like the smell of opening up a new Hot Wheels car. Like, takes me back to the first time I went to the Mattel store at the Disney, downtown Disney in Orlando, and they had this wall of Hot Wheels that you could pick from, and I'm back there every time I open up a container, a fresh Hot Wheels car. Can't top that.
Yeah.
And that feeling, the accomplishment of finding a chase when you do that you can't top either. But at some point, I think everybody's going to go, this is too much work. And, and then go, well, why am I spending, especially things like the RLC club, like the C is for club, so that's redundant. But anyway, it's the ATM machine. Anyway, those are cool. Like, it's kind of funny that the Mangusta kind of is still sitting there from last week. I actually really like that casting. I bought it. But the ones like the pink R34 that sold out like literally instantaneously, and then was selling for like $600 on eBay. Yeah, exactly. So, unless you got a job like I do, where I work from home and you can have a timer set and just be like, oh, time to get on the Redline Club site and buy the car. And even then, I've had it. I've had it like where I would get it a second it drops and it would still be sold out. So, I think there's people that do it for the thrill, and that's fine. But, if you're doing it because you want this particular car or this particular casting, the other car manufacturers out there, even the ones that that do like Auto World and Johnny Lightnings that are, lately Johnny Lightning's been really stepping up their game. And and you look at those and you're like, you can get this for, $6-7. And if you're looking for rarity, they're way more rare. Even their main lines are more rare than a Super Treasure Hunt, so and if they get a casting that matters. So I think they're two entirely different things. I think people collect Hot Wheels because of the emotion it evokes. And I think people collect the premiums because of the cars, of, wanting something high detailed and wanting something that is easy to display and evokes feelings about the car, not feelings about the toy. So I think they're two very different things. I think the Hot Wheels is the gateway drug for all of us. That's the first one's only $1, and and it goes from there. So
we know where that goes.
Yeah, but yeah, I think it's a very interesting time. I think it's very interesting that so many of our channels started around 2020. There are so many people that I know that 2019, 2020, 2021, all these YouTube channels started. I feel like we're riding a wave that all of us kind of us, millennials and elder Gen Xers that kind of are going back, I think at first to recapture the nostalgia and then just falling in love with miniature cars in general. I think it'll be two diverting paths, that there's going to be the people that stick with Hot Wheels. And I think there's going to be the people that move to premiums. And I think that, I feel myself getting drawn more toward the premiums now, with the exception of, occasionally Hot Wheels are just easier to customize in a lot of ways because they're a little chunkier, they're a little easier to drill apart. And honestly, the plastic bases make it easy on some of them. But yeah, I think they're two very different things. And I think that's the beauty of this hobby, is that there's room for everyone. I say just about on a weekly basis now, there's a diecast for everyone. My daughter loves the one that looks like a little cupcake. My 6-year-old niece wanted a Bugatti with rainbows and sprinkles, and so I made her one. And my nephews wanted Mad Max style Gaslands belts, and even people like I took my best friend and his wife to a flea market once to do some hunting, and even she was fine. She's like not a car person at all, does not like cars, and she still found cars that she wanted.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about 1/64 scale cars that everybody likes one of them. So that's the part that I like about it, is that there is a niche for everybody in this hobby. Boys, girls, fantasy, real, hot rod. And that's part of, I think, what works for Diecast Breakdown is we've got 3 different takes on stuff. I'm much more customization heavy. I'm much more the American muscle and malaise era. And David is Mr. Premium. He's, Mr. Pinky in the air. Got to have lensed headlamps and tail lamps. And Mark is our JDM guy, and Mark is, yeah, exactly. So, earlier on, Mark was much more of a hunter channel too. And, he's kind of done less and less of that. And he's doing, auto detailing now. And he's got this completely different take on cars than David or I have, and I'm much more down and dirty, rusty cars, big and small. I got a 77 Dodge D100, that pickup truck that's an old Oklahoma road fleet vehicle that's got rust all over the top of it. And it's this rat rod truck that my wife painted the Flying Valiant logo on the door, and we weathered it to make it look like it'd been on there for 40 years. And, so I'm much more the busted knuckle guy. Mark's the refined, let's make this Lamborghini shine guy. And David's more the, focused on the premium cars, and then the cars of the people, and these weird X-car toys, and all the crazy niche stuff, like really rare and obscure weird stuff. So Andy's our Corvette guy. You got to have a Corvette guy.
Yeah.
So you got to have the guy with the New Balances and the jean shorts and the I'm just kidding, David.
the thigh high tight cargo shorts.
Yeah. Every spring I send him the this meme that is it's a guy in a white polo shirt with jean shorts and white New Balances, and I go, it's Corvette season.
It's Corvette season. That's great. Yeah, you pretty much nailed it, Chuck. Yeah, you guys cover all bases. Like pretty much all tastes is covered somewhere between the 3 of you.
Yeah. Well, and and again, the great thing about YouTube is that we've got, channels like yours that focus on, the new and the exciting, and you've got your Porsches and you've got your specialties, and everybody's got their own unique take on it. No 2 channels are covering things the same way. And I think that's wonderful and fascinating.
Yeah. Diversity is key for sure. Yeah, but going back to what you were saying about, between Hot Wheels and premium brand, I couldn't have said it better. I mean, you just nailed it. And where I'm at kind of right now, I think I'm virtually literally on the cusp of giving up Hot Wheels hunting for the most part, and keeping right now I'm at I'm 90% fully loaded, that I'm not going to be hunting supers the way I have been the past couple of years next year. I might try to complete this year. I might not. And, as of right now, I really don't care if I do or don't. Like, I'll go out there and keep trying to see what I find.
Sure.
But I think where I'm going, I think kind of where I'm leaning at is I would like to reserve, of course, grab the main lines and the premiums that I like, and reserve Hot Wheels for customs. Like you were saying, I don't think there's anything better and easier to customize, at this point. I've tried taking apart a tarmac just to see if I could, and it's doable, but it's a hell of a lot trickier than
the rivets are a lot smaller, aren't they?
Yeah. And then you got to use like a little small pick, and you got to punch out the plastic pieces, and not everybody's going to be able to do that. So, but that's kind of where I'm at, is just mainly reserving Hot Wheels for customs, stash, and then kind of moving on to premium. I mean, Tarmac is making such great stuff, especially for me, since I love Porsche. They're making some of the best stuff that is ever
there.
And then you got up and coming players like Mini GT, and of course you got NO, and then if you really want to get crazy, Timothy and Pierre, Fuel Me, for resin stuff. But that's kind of where I'm leaning at. So I don't think it could have been said better the way that you said it.
Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, I haven't gotten any resins yet. That is something that I would like to get eventually, because I get it. Like they're just like, you can't get the detail out of diecast that you can with resin. But yeah, I haven't been able to pull the trigger on one of those yet, but yeah, you know, you were mentioning Cubbyhole, and you know, I was out there. That was the first time I bought a Tamika Vintage Works, because I saw one in person for the first time, and I was like, this is incredible. Like the spare tire on the bottom of this truck is another rubber tire. You know?
It's a real tire.
It's a real tire. I've got, you know, the chassis pieces are separate, intricate pieces. This is not just like a molded base. This is a multi-piece base on this thing. I've got to get one of these. And it's $35, but you know, you can't get an RLC is not gonna, you know, when Hot Wheels came out with that elite Toyota Soarer, was this, no, it wasn't a Soarer.
Oh, the Chaser.
Chaser, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, and it was fine, you know, but it was not up to an Inno or a Tarmac Works or a Tamika. You know, the pieces looked kind of, you know, the undercarriage was still a molded piece with some plastic pipes glued onto it, and the you know, the headlights had very obvious like tabs on them where the lenses went, and you know, it was fine, you know, but it was not, I don't, you know, for the same price point, I don't think it was, it was certainly not better than anything that I've seen from, you know, or Mini or Tarmac Works or Tamika. So, you know, I appreciate that they're doing that. You know, it's funny, the guy that I was at today and digging through his stuff, he had a lot of the like Hot Wheels Elites from like the mid 90s when they tried doing that. Well, they weren't called Elites, they were called like 100% Hot Wheels or something like that. They had a series that was like this really high detailed. They tried doing like these, that they would have like these little 2-packs. Like you'd have one that would be like a Dodge Viper and one would be a Shelby Daytona, or you'd have, or you'd have like a they had a 4-pack that was like a Roadrunner and a Mustang and a Cougar and something else, and they looked really, really good. They were really well done diecasts. They were, I would put them at like an Auto World level of detail, but you know, they stopped doing that. You know, they you know, the premiums now are really good, but you know, they're still, you know, a lot of the premiums are elevated versions of standard cars or you know, the mainline cars. And you know, I think it was something that they tried in the 90s, and then there wasn't really that big of a response to it. People didn't seem ready at that point to spend the extra money on some really nicely detailed cars, and they kind of went away from that. And I think they're coming back to it. And I think this Elite was a good start. You know, I'd like to see a little bit more out of them, but they're still doing really cool stuff. You know, I loved the Dodge van that they just did with the 4 opening doors on it, and the Power Wagon with the twisting chassis. That was really cool. So, you know, they're still doing really cool stuff, and they're doing really innovative stuff over there. Don't get me wrong. And, you know, Hot Wheels is, I still, you know, it's always going to be the standard. You know, it's going to be the thing that everybody recognizes. And it's like, you know, every video game a mom calls a Nintendo, you know, every 1/64 scale car people call a Hot Wheels. It's ubiquitous. So, you know, I'm so grateful to that. And I'm so grateful that they're continuing to do awesome stuff and be that gateway to this bigger world. But yeah, like Xavier says, customs all day. You know, those are going to be, you know, Hot Wheels and Matchbox are still going to be my go-tos for doing customs. I think they're probably 90% of the customs I've done are Hot Wheels or Matchbox. I've done a few. I just did a few M2s, some M2 Broncos, and those were fun. But, you know, again, there's a lot of pieces in those, and I didn't even realize that the front grille was a separate piece of plastic until I put them in paint stripper and melted the grills. And had to get, had to destroy 2 other Broncos to get it done because I was doing it for a client, but not really a client, like a friend. You know, I say client because it makes me sound cool, but
you gotta, you gotta say it like this, Chuck. You gotta be like
client. Hey, this is how you make it tax. You know, it's a tax write-off now because it's a business. So right.
See, it was legit. I got proof. Look at this.
Look at this. I've got this live stream. I got these, you know, that's, you know, I document the cars and I share them, and you know, it's part of Flying Valiant LLC.
You guys heard it first. Chuck has clients. He's earning tax write-offs from his clients.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
Exhibit A, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, going back to the Elite 6.4. Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying there too. I mean, it's another level up for them. I mean, at least they're trying. You know, they're trying to look outside the box.
Right.
And another thing I really want to agree with you with is that, yeah, Hot Wheels and Matchbox are definitely the way to go for everyday customizing and stuff. At least we can look at a Hot Wheel, we can pick it up and we can be like, boy, that looks off. Boy, that looks off. But if you're customizing and you like a challenge, it's like we kind of don't want them to ever be absolutely perfect because we want to pick stuff on them and make them more realistic. I mean, yeah, you ever think about that? You're like, man, thank God Hot Wheels aren't absolutely perfect, because what would we fix and what would we change?
Right, exactly. No, that's true. You know, even if it comes down to things like filing off casting lines. It was funny. I think one year the Three Blind Mice they picked the 70 Monte Carlo from Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift as the base car.
Yeah.
And everybody was so mad at that car because you take the paint off it. The casting lines are atrocious. And everybody in their videos was complaining about the casting lines on that car. That's kind of the fun thing too, is going, okay, well, you know, the bed on this pickup truck is covered, so let's cut the bed off and make a custom bed for it, or, you know, let's graft on and make a club cab, or, you know, the people that you know, there's, and again, if you get it wrong, it's $1. You know, you buy 2 or 3 of them. Like now when I build, I have to have, you know, a couple of them just in case something goes wrong. I can just throw it over my shoulder and we pick up again. So hey Jesse, thanks for watching.
Yeah, Jesse,
but yeah, like I think that's the other thing too, is like if you mess up a mainline Hot Wheels, you know, guess what? You can go and pick up another one. And if, you know, especially if you're not picky, you can find them, you know, at a thrift shop or a flea market for 30-40 cents a piece. And, you know, I'm about to do a build. It's, I think, my most ambitious build yet, where it's going to be 30 different cars in this build. And it's going to be really interesting, I think. But you know, you can't do that if you're doing premiums. You know, I mean, you could, it would just be very, very expensive.
It'll bankrupt you.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that, you know, and again, they're great for learning on too, because, you know, if it goes wrong, then, you know, you can do something else with it, or break it down, or do some, you know, turn it into a junker or a gas lanes vehicle, or whatever, or just throw it away and start over. So yeah, I think that's a good point too, is the imperfection of them is the beauty of them, is because there's always something you can do. You can always drill it and put mirrors on the side, or you can, you know, fill in a scoop that you don't like, or add a scoop that you wish was there, or cut the hood and make an engine come through it. It's very easy to do, and they conveniently made these out of this very soft metal that's quite easy to cut. And and I think that's the beauty of diecast too, is that, you know, the plastic cars, yeah, it's very easy to cut those, but diecast is also an incredibly malleable metal to work with, which has its pros and cons. I've had cars before where I bent the car in a certain way that the chassis didn't fit anymore, and had to bend it back and hammer it back into position. But at the same time, if you need to, you know, take a jeweler saw and cut through, it's quite easy to do, or a Dremel. And it I think is a great entry point for people working, learning metalworking and stuff like that too.
Yeah. Excellent said. So I wanted to pick your brain about one thing real quick. If you have any recommendations for people that like want to get into like weathering and stuff, what are like a handful of things that you would recommend they pick up? And
Sure.
I guess kind of a side question to that question is, how do you feel about the Testors weather kits? If you've ever tried one. I don't know if you've ever tried one.
The Testors weather kits. I don't think I've tried a Testors weather. I've bought the ones from Vallejo, and I've bought ones from AK Interactive. Those are my go-to brands when it comes to weathering. Tamiya makes these really good weathering powders. Actually, that van that you held up earlier, all the weathering on that was done with weathering powders. So that is I used Null Oil, which is a Games Workshop wash. And you can find Games Workshop stuff in just about any comic book shop or tabletop game shop. They'll have a little kiosk of their stuff. It's good paint, but it does tend to dry quickly because of the plastic containers that they have it in. I think a weathering kit for your first go is a great start because they will usually have everything that you need to do your first weathering, and the armor kits are really good for that. And that's why I like Vallejo. They have one that's like chipping and streaking. They have one that's rust and chipping, and they'll have just about everything that you need in there to do a full weathering except the wash. And and for that, I highly recommend to me a panel liner that comes in these little glass square bottles. You can get them on Amazon for like $7-8, and they have this little fine tip applicator that you can just kind of tap it on a door panel, and the capillary action just makes it shoot up the sides. I started with like Gundam markers doing the panel liners, and they don't hold up. The Tamiya, you get a bottle of this stuff for $8 and it'll last you forever. Because it doesn't dry out, and you need like 5 drops to do an entire car. And so I really like those kind of kits if you're just getting started. Something that I wish I had known early on when it comes to customs is get cutting oil for your drill. Like to add cutting a little bit of this stuff that it's just called got some of it right here. This is an actually a quite old container, but it's thread cutting oil. You put one drop, you put
that is vintage.
From Sears.
That is
Craftsman.
vintage.
Yeah. But again, like that's a lifetime supply for me because you use one drop of it and you put it on, and it makes cutting through the rivets so much easier. Earl Grey tea works as well. Huh? That's an interesting idea. For a wash. Yeah, that would be a great wash, actually. And you can make your own washes. There's a ton of really great the tabletop gaming YouTube channels have a lot of great weathering advice and making your own wash. Honestly, I think you do the make your own stuff later. Get the good stuff and learn what the good stuff feels like, because you're going to get there anyway. And the weathering kits from Vallejo or AK Interactive on the high side are going to be $25. And that kit will last you forever, because you're using a drop or two out of the bottles are tiny, but you're using a drop or two at a time at the most on a 1/64 scale car. And that is, I think, a critical thing. Airbrushes are a really good thing to learn. I don't think that they're essential, especially for weathering at all. They're a nice to have, but don't do what I did and get the cheap airbrush with the can of aerosol, because you'll just make yourself so frustrated and you're just throwing money away. They actually have these kits now that you can get that are it's like a little tiny battery pack and compressor in one, and for like $75 you get a dual action airbrush with a little built-in compressor, and it charges off of a USB thing. And those are great to learn off of, and you don't have to buy the big compressor. And I lucked out because my big car stuff, I have a 30-gallon compressor in my garage, so I can fill that thing up and it'll last me a week of airbrushing. But then I forget that it's on, and it comes on at 3 a.m. and wakes the baby up. But yeah. So but yeah, I think I think I haven't used the testers kits, but yeah, get a kit, because that will help you learn the basics and follow along with those instructions. The AK weathering pencils, Dane, great question. I use those a lot. Those are some of them are really, really good. Some of them are a lot harder to work with than you would think. I think those are a thing to learn after you've learned the basics. The weathering pencils are a very tricky thing because they're kind of part pencil, part grease pen, because they've got kind of an oil-based thing to them. So they're almost like an oil pastel in a pencil form. And they work really well, especially like the chipping ones and the rust ones. There's a few different metallic ones that are a real pain to work with. but yeah, when they came out, I thought they were amazing, and I bought like a whole bunch of them, and I use them, on maybe half the builds I do now. But I think that's, you're going to get a very similar result from that as you would just working with paint and a stiff paintbrush and learning stippling and learning dry brushing. And those are, I think, much more critical skills to learn before moving on to an AK Interactive weathering pencil. There's a ton of stuff out there. Games Workshop has this stuff that's called corrosion, and it's a textured paint that looks like corroded metal, and then you dry brush on this stuff called Rise of Rust that gives a nice rust texture, and that works pretty well. Again, it's a different effect, but I've seen people that even do rust, like they will actually grind up metal and rust it in I think it's not vinegar, but they'll like corrode their own metal and work rust into the actual build. And yeah, that looks really good. But on a small scale, you saw I'm quite happy with how that van turned out. And all I used on that was Tamiya panel liner and the Tamiya weathering powders kit. And that was just one kit that's like $8, and the panel liner is $8. And just kind of work with that and go, what do I like about this? What do I not like about this? What would I like to see more of? And again, like that's one color. And the only thing I did was I rubbed a little harder in some spots than other spots to get a darker effect. And, that's the beauty of 1/64 scale, is that in this scale, less is still more. Like, you're not going to get a lot of 3D effect on, and you can go crazy. Like Beer Metal HW, he used like circuit board acid to actually eat away the metal itself. And, and that's great. Like it created a great effect. But, you think about it in 1/64 scale, those things would be like if somebody had taken a sledgehammer and pounded holes into the side of a car.
Right.
Steel wool and vinegar. Zolo says, yes, steel wool and vinegar. That's the one. So,
Steve from Miniature Mustangs is asking, do you clear coat over the powders when you're done?
Yes. You don't have to, but it will rub off on your fingers. I like to use AK Interactive and Vallejo. Both have ultra matte varnishes. I have yet to see any significant difference between the two of them. They're, for that kind of thing, airbrush I would recommend, because if you're brushing it on with an actual brush, you can disturb the powders. But if you're shooting from a distance with an ultra matte varnish, it'll lock everything in nice and tight. And there are things like AK Interactive has a pigment fixer paint that you can brush over that does that. But it tends to leave a glossy sheen that I'm not super thrilled with. So I end up going over it with ultra matte varnish anyway. So I just stuck with using the ultra matte varnish. But yeah, it depends. If you're going to touch it, like if you're going to use it to play Gaslands, then yeah. So oil washes in dirt color by Citadel for weathering. Yeah, that stuff is really good as well. Citadel is kind of like, that's the Games Workshop brand. Brush it on uneven look for a Gaslands effect. Yeah, and there are a lot of different types of washes that you can use as well. I like dark brown as a panel liner for weathered builds, because it just creates a grungier look, and that's really good.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
A wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, and again, I could talk this stuff all day. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask. So, and yes, I have actually left a car in Aircraft Stripper for a week, and it does eat the metal. I forgot about it, and then I was like, whatever happened to that? Oh no. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff. In 5 minutes, it'll take the paint off. In a week, it will eat the car. So yeah, be very careful with that. If you've got the time, I highly recommend Citrus Strip over Aircraft Stripper, because it does take longer, but it is much better on your lungs. It does not have any VOC at all. It's very safe to work with. Aircraft Stripper is incredible if you're in a hurry, but it is wicked if it gets on your hands, or God forbid it gets on your hands and gets trapped behind your ring.
That's happened to me before
yeah,
too.
Yeah. Ever get like brake cleaner or acetone behind a
Oh
ring?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Brake clean. Oof.
Yeah, brake clean. It's wicked
Like,
stuff.
just put me out of
Yeah.
my misery. Put me down now.
Exactly. Just feel the skin dissolve off my hand.
Yeah, that's funny that you mentioned that. I used to use Rust-Oleum aircraft stripper, and
Oh yeah.
God, it works so good. But if you just, you're kind of like trying not to breathe it, and then you just get that. It's like you can feel it go into your lung.
Smells like cancer.
Yeah, it smells like cancer. It doesn't smell like Teen Spirit.
No.
But yeah, I switched to citrus strip, and it's really nice and really convenient to be able to strip cars in your house.
Exactly. Not have to go out to the garage and go, okay, well, is this well ventilated? Is this not near anything that will eat the paint off of?
Yeah, for sure.
You can get it now in an aerosol can, which is I didn't realize you could do. And that's gonna you get
strip or the aircraft
Rust-Oleum aircraft server. I used to buy it in the big, like the gallon, tin jug, and then I'd pour those into like old salsa jars and stuff, and just kind of dunk the car in and shake it up and put it on the shelf for 5 minutes and come back.
Yep. Yep. Well, Chuck, I've had you here for almost 2 3/4 hours.
Woo!
Well, I've been on that long, and I brought you on before the first hour, so yeah, hour and a half for you, man.
Wow,
it's freaking nice.
Yeah, it's been a blast.
I got to say that this was extremely informative and very entertaining.
Thank you very much.
Hearing you talk about everything, and yeah, thanks again for all that you've done for the community. Building a platform for some of these diecast celebrities, I like to call them, to come on and talk about them and talk more personally, and just everyday Joes too. I mean, you've had a lot of people from our community, our YouTube community on.
So and I want to have more YouTube creators on. So guys, please reach out, email diecastbreakdown@gmail.com. That goes to me and David. And I would love to have more YouTubers on as well. We were lucky that we had a bunch of manufacturers all of a sudden come out of the woodwork and say they wanted to be on, but we want to keep the show going, and that means we're always going to need guests. We want to do more lives, and the lives are great when you've got another YouTuber, because YouTubers know how to do a live. Right. So yeah, we've had a few, like Rob at Scale Enthusiasm and Mustang Hunter, and you, Derek, and we want to have you on and do another live, because they're just a lot of fun. It's great to have the community on and answer questions in real time, and get the reactions from people.
Yeah, absolutely. I got to admit though, the first time I was on, I was actually a little bit nervous, and I was yeah, I felt a little. I was like, wow, this is just so well orchestrated. I feel some pressure, but I'll be good next time, I promise.
Well, I appreciate that. Well, my background is broadcast television. I did broadcast television for 10 years. I was not in front of the camera, but I was a producer. I did a lot of promotion stuff. So, I get to bring some of that to our show. And, and so that's fun. It keeps me sharp on a skill that I was starting to get a little rusty on, but we're still trying to keep it low key and approachable, and and again, we've got like a fifth of the audience that you have, but we're working on it a little bit at a time. So it's just, we're having fun, we're doing the best show that we can with what we got.
I told you this behind the scenes, but I'll tell you right now, if you need help with anything, if I can extend my hand and help you guys,
sure,
let me know. I'll do it. If you guys come up with some kind of idea, you want me to give it a try, like you were talking about going and checking out local shops, I'll be happy to do that with Cubbyhole. If you want to kick that off, from anything else you can think of, just let me know.
I said, we're always open to having more contributors, guests on the show. If people want to do a segment, they say, hey, I've got an idea for something, but I don't want to do it on my channel, or I don't want to create a channel to do it. We would love to have that kind of input. We're actively looking for people to help us with production of the show. Again, I wish we could offer more than just like ad revenue at this time, or a share of the Patreon money. But it's tough for me, because I have to edit the show, and David has to find the guests for the show. So we're not just pretty faces in front of the camera. We're actively making the show happen. And sometimes I think the closest we've come is I've gotten the episode uploaded an hour before we were supposed to go live with it, and being like, all right, this is happening. So yeah.
Well,
yeah,
for what you're working with, and everything, your production is just outstanding.
Thank you so much.
I love the format of your show.
Thank you.
It's just so well put together. It's got commercials. It's got people chiming in saying, "Hey, this is so and so." You're watching.
We need to get you doing that, by the way. We need to get this is Honest Diecast, and you're watching Diecast Breakdown. So
coincidentally, I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna film it and I'm just gonna send it to him. I'm not.
Oh,
I'm not
please
even gonna
do. And anyone listening who wants to do one, because we just like it was something that David started, and I was like, oh, that's such a good idea. I wish I'd thought of that. So that's why we got Champion DJK, and we got Fia and Diecast Dude doing it. But it's something that we're trying to do with each guest, and we always forget because we're having such a good time talking to them that we're like,
yeah,
and we're done. Great job, everybody. Oh no. So it does look like it might look like a well-oiled machine on the surface. There's still a lot of things that we're ironing out and going, oh right, we need to have this as part of the show notes. And that's, I think that's the thing with everything. It's just like I said, it's iterative. You look at each one and you go, okay, what went well? What do we need to fix? And I try to limit it to one thing. Let's make one thing better. And okay, well, let's make sure that we do a better job of promoting the show beforehand. Okay, well, we'll make a post beforehand, or we'll do a better job of syncing up the audio or something. That's the tricky part, is getting 4 different video streams, usually in 4 different parts of the world, because the 3 of us are not even in the same time zones. We're
True.
East Coast, Central, and Pacific. So, just getting the internet to receive all of our video and audio feeds in a synced up manner is a trick. So, yeah, it's like I said, it's a fun thing. It's a great way to incorporate my passion for broadcasting, communications, miniatures, and again, being able to be a part of the community and be on your show and have you on our show and make the world a little bit smaller, friendlier place. And, remind people, hey, you're not alone. This hobby can feel very lonely, and you can feel like you're the weird 40-year-old guy at the, in the toy store lurking through all the cars and going, no, there are dozens of us. No, there are millions of us. And, and we, there's nothing wrong with being a grown man or a kid or a woman or whoever you are, and getting out there and finding your escape or your little bit of happiness in a diecast car. So
absolutely.
That's my take on that.
If the world could only be so simple in
Indeed.
all aspects.
Indeed. So
yeah, well, friggin' awesome, Chuck.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you need help on anything, even if it's just on the back end, let me know. I'll be happy to volunteer to help you guys.
We'll talk about that, because again, like I said, I didn't want this to be about me. Like, I want to, if I reach the end of this and I go, I can't do this anymore, I want to hand this off. I want to be able to, like, here's the keys to the channel, take good care of it. And so that's why that was the big reason for getting away from calling it Flying Valiant, because I wanted it to be beyond me. I wanted it to be something that this is not my channel. This is our channel. This is the community's channel. And we can do with it what we want. And I want it to be like a TV channel. And, we have different shows and different programs, and we have a different, all the different playlists. And Flying Valiant Builds is my contribution to it. And Diecast Breakdown is not my show. It's David, Mark, and I's show. And, and we do that show together, and we make decisions on that together. It is not me going, we're doing this and we're going this way. It's, hey, what do you think about this? And, for, anybody who wanted to contribute something, I want them to be able to be like, this is wholly my show. And, and we'll see, we're barely a full year and a half maybe into doing it that way. And, as it's picking up steam again, it's really great to kind of see the interest starting to build again to that. And again, we're interested in more people joining the Diecast Media Network and contributing in however way they can, even if it's just sharing it in their Facebook group or sharing it with a friend, or saying, hey, did you know that there's actually an audio feed of the show too? Or whatever, or coming to us and saying, hey, I'd like to do a segment or a feature, or I want to just submit a video. Well, here's a video from so-and-so presented by Diecast Media Network. And this is their show, and that's their thing, and they can do with it what they want. And it's out there, and our platform isn't that big right now, but it might be a lot bigger than, them starting something from scratch, or going, I don't know how to start a YouTube channel. I don't, I can shoot a video and I might be able to edit it, but I don't want to go through the hassle of setting up a YouTube channel. Or I've got, 200 subscribers and I've got this good content, but nobody's paying attention to it. Well, maybe I can submit it to Diecast Media Network and it'll get a few hundred views instead of a dozen. So, it's that kind of thing. That's, like I said, that's why we do the small channel shout out. That's why we try to make sure, the patrons always get some kind of notice. We're trying to be better about, giving individual shout outs to patrons like Honest Diecast. Thank you. And, making sure that, not that you need the Diecast Media Network bump or anything, but, making sure we, get the word out there. So, and we appreciate the Honest Diecast bump. We got a big bump in subscribers after David was on, and we really appreciate that. So thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Honest Diecast peeps. So
thank you, HD fam.
Yes. HD fam. So,
yeah. Well, friggin' awesome, Chuck. Yeah. Well, like I said, I can speak for a lot of different people, and we love what you're doing. Just, please keep bringing that good vibe, that good aura, and those amazing guests, and all the information that you guys bring, and that production quality.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome.
Well, and again, that's what we're going for. Is we're going for a positive vibe. That's why we love this community. Is there are so many, for every scalper and every, jerk at the pegs, there are hundreds of kind, wonderful, thoughtful people that are doing ROAC sends and, donating to Diecast Day of Giving, which, is Mark's passion project, or, the St. Jude's auction. There's so many wonderful people out there. And, we want to focus on that part of the hobby. Yeah. We want to focus on the people that are doing good and making this the community for people who may not feel comfortable out there in the real world, or may not feel comfortable at a Cars and Coffee, or a big car event, or a public gathering. They've got this online community where they can go, hey, this is something that I'm really passionate about and I want to show it off. And, whether it's Honest Diecast, or it's Anthony Schmidt Photography, or it's Jakarta Diecast, or it's, just like your, what's his name? 713, the guy that we just gave that shout out to, that's really talented, and his channel is criminally small. He needs to have a lot more subscribers. Yes. So, so thank you for sending him our way.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. He needs attention. I think he's getting it too.
It'll grow really fast. Like that kind of talent it's not going to be long.
Yeah. He's got some things in the works, so I'm excited to see where that takes him. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, all right, Chuck. I will let you go. I don't even know what time it is.
It's about 11:30 over here. So yeah, it's about bedtime for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, this has been an absolute delight, Derek. Been really looking forward to this, and we really appreciate you shouting us out and enjoying the show, because again, you're exactly our target audience. You're who we're making the show for. So we really appreciate you. We appreciate all of you. Thank you, everyone. It just means so much to get that feedback and that reciprocity of that we're doing something that you guys enjoy.
Absolutely, sir. Yep. And like I said, if you need help with anything, please feel free to reach out. And I know that you're on our Facebook group. If you ever want to promote anything, feel free to, please. I mean, that's another.
I try not to do that. But I appreciate you. Especially without permission. I try to be very respectful of Facebook groups. That's not, what people are there for. But
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, we definitely don't mind that. You know, I mean, Jason's on there. Jason can do it. You know, from a Mustang Hunter, he can do it. And
sure,
you know, Bruce is on there. So many people are on there. Please feel free.
sure.
If
That's
you think
like
it'll help.
honestly, that's the best thing people can do is if you like the show, please share it on a Facebook group, you know, because I don't, it's so different coming from a viewer rather than coming from us, you know, and yeah. Thank you, Via.
Yeah.